That was spooky. We had some serious, like, scene changing lag going on there. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we are back after a 1-week vacation. We took a little break because of IAE, Intergalactic. What is it? Intergalactic. I don't even remember. Do you guys remember what the
Aerospace Expo?
Thank you, Aerospace. Thank you, Expo 2950 was this week, as you guys know. And I'm here with supposed to be 3, but there are 2 of us. Our third one may drop in, but we'll go with the 2 that we have right now because these are 2 very well-informed gentlemen. We have as a special guest with us today, Mr. Shiver Bathory, who's back again. Shiver, welcome back again.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
We're just going to have to give you like a membership card and you can just, drop in whenever you want. Cause I think we've had you on, you've had the most revisits back with us. So, you got the award still.
I'm very sorry.
No, we're always happy to have you, especially because of the time zone shift, and you always make yourself available to us. So we want to say we appreciate you. Thank you for making it for us.
Being from the land of the rising sun.
Yes, absolutely.
That's more than I get from Relay.
Oh, don't start that now. Don't start that. And of course, we have our good friend, the man, the professor himself, Kimmy65. What's going on, Kimmy?
07. I am glad to be here, you all. And also special shout out to Mr. David Prowse, our one and only Darth Vader. He passed, and what a rich and enriching life, and what a story he gave us. Definitely will be missed.
Yeah.
Never forgotten.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see the documentary on him. I am not sure. I Am Your Father. Have you guys seen it? If you haven't seen it, trust me, find it and watch it. I didn't know this. I knew there was some controversy about Prowse at some point, and I never knew what it was. And then I remember hearing how Prowse was never at the Star Wars celebrations or convention. Well, the reason why is because at some point, and I watched this documentary like 2 years ago because it came out in 2017. At some point, he was accused of having leaked out the information of the ending of the Star Wars stuff. And they basically, he became an outcast at that point in relation to Lucasfilm. And thus never officially invited to any official Star Wars events. And he was on the outside for literally decades. And it wasn't until just within this last decade that it started to find out that maybe he had not leaked it, that maybe it was some other source. And so if you see the documentary, it's amazing documentary that was done. This guy flies over to him and spends time talking with him. And he goes through his whole history of how he started out as a bodybuilder and how he became the part of Vader. He talks about the whole thing with using his voice versus not using his voice. But then he gets into the deep conversation about why he was never seen, at the events. And then he opens up this whole thing. So it's interesting, but he was definitely loved by fans and was seen at other events. And eventually, I think he did back into the favor a little bit. But anyway, make sure you see it. I Am Your Father. Check it out. Yeah, I look forward today to see if it was on Netflix. It's not. I looked at it on Amazon. It said it wasn't being shown in my region, so I don't know what happened to it. But it literally was on Netflix for at least a good year and a half, and it kind of poof and went away. So thank you, Kimmy, for mentioning that, because David Prowse is kind of somebody who's had an impact on pop culture worldwide, not just here, but with everybody. Very cool.
Yes,
I remember him teaching me how to cross the road properly.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the green crosscode man for a bit.
Really?
Stop.
Real story.
Both ways.
Oh, that's right. He sure did do that. That's right. He did those. He did those informational
I'm old enough
commercials.
to remember that on the TV.
Wow, that's true. He did. I forgot. It was like a PSA.
Wow,
he did.
Shiver.
Public service announcement. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, okay. We're gonna attempt to jump right into it. I hope that I think, Kimmy, I may have foregone one of the videos, so you guys may have to forgive me. There's one video that I didn't do yet, and I'll have to do this while we're working. I'll do it at the very end. But guys, Today we're going to be talking about the IAE and hopefully raise your hand in chat if you went to the IAE. No, raise your hand if you spent money at the IAE, because I'm pretty sure everybody in chat went to
Ouch.
IAE. Oh, Kimmy, since you said ouch, why don't we start with you? Did you were you able to hold back? Were you able to keep restraint, or did you dive in a little bit, or did you dive in deep? Which one did you?
Oh my gosh. What was it? Paint jobs to the initial release of or the introduction to IAE was the Nomad. And that was one of the things I looked at because I was curious about the ship, right? So it was, I think they did a good job of keeping it close to the vest, and we were guessing still up to that day what it really was. And so it was kind of funny to realize it was almost funny because it was, again, Consolidated came out of the woodwork, and it was a take on Elon Musk and his electric truck. And it was just, wait a minute. I was going to go in and try to, well, maybe think about getting a Taurus, and that popped up, and the capabilities there, well, it allowed me to take the Rock Gray Cat with me. So I said, I got to do it. And then I looked at the price point, and I'm like, wait a minute, this does just about everything. It was a very maneuverable ship. It was well armed. And it was new, Consolidated. It was a new concept for them. And I was like, okay, you got me, Chris. Here you go. And I went in and did the purchase, and then went back and did the paint jobs. Yeah, so I had to do it.
Okay, I got you. Shiver, how about you? Did you dip in the pool, or did you stay on the beach and say, forget it, I'm not not spending any more money?
My wife's here. I'm thinking about getting the Perseus.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's
Captain.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
Captain.
Okay. Okay, you know what? That's going to be a good point of conversation, because the Perseus is the last ship that we're going to be talking about today. So we'll see if you still feel that way when we're done. You may feel
exclude you,
better.
Griff.
Oh,
you.
Yeah, me.
Wait a minute.
What did I do this time? Okay, I came into IAE hoping that we were going to see the refinery. You and I had talked about that, Kimmy.
Okay.
You had been hoping that the refinery was going to pop up. And we had already determined, based upon the price point of the Nomad, that probably was not going to be the refinery. So I kind of went in, just kind of say, okay, let me see what's going on. I ended up melting all of my standalone ships. I got rid of everything except for a Pisces. So the only thing I had left were my 2 packages. So that meant I got rid of my Cutlass Red, my Cutlass Black. I got rid of, I had some of those SRVs, the little Argos. It was little miniature things, the golf cart. I had a Tumbrel, a whole bunch of stuff I got rid of. And by the time I got rid of all of that, plus I hate to say this, I got rid of my Valkyrie. There was something else that I had in there, I forget. Yeah. And when it all was said and done, I ended up taking the credit and buying an Endeavor Master Class, Master, whatever it's called, Master Set. And I only ended up having to drop $19 for the difference for that. So Brilliant. That was the most that I spent. Now I'm like Shiver, I'm kind of biding my time a little bit here. I might melt it. I've counseled with several friends. I might melt it and instead get the Nautilus. I wanted the Pioneer. I might get the Nautilus and the C2. Now I'll tell you why. By me getting it now, I've locked it in at the $1,000 price tag, because we know the Endeavor will go up eventually. The other problem was, initially, Kimmy, what I did was I bought the Endeavor base, which is $350, and then I was just going to buy the modules over time. Then I found out that you can't get the Super Collider. The Super Collider was only included in the Master Set. So that's what kind of made me decide to say, okay, I'm going to melt everything else. Oh, there was one other thing I did. I upgraded my M2 to an A2. That was the one thing that I did do.
You talked about that.
Yeah, but you know what? But it broke my heart, Kimmy, because when the A2 came out, it was $600, and it has went up to $700 in credit. So it cost me an extra $100. I did spend I forgot about that. I did spend that. But that was all I did. I stayed away from everything else. The big melt was the big thing that I did. So I'm still holding off. I might hold on to the Endeavor.
Wow.
I honestly may hold on to it. I will say this. I think I told you that my two accounts merged, put me at a certain level. Well, now because of my spending, I didn't realize it. I'm less than $1,000 away from the next level now. So I might just by next November, I will probably have an F8. I'll put it that way. By next November, I'll have an F8.
Is this bragging rights that we're hearing?
Nope,
kind
it's not
of,
bragging.
Sort of?
Not bragging. I'm just telling you. First of all, I'm gonna tell you something. You know me. I'm not a big combat person. I honestly never thought I'd get that. I never thought I'd get that high. I knew I'd be somewhere between, like 5 and 10, but I never thought that I'd cross the threshold of 10. That's just kind of messing my head up.
I'll take it for you. I can do with a second.
You want me?
But that's, with the F8, we know now, a lot of us who are in the game, we understand that, with that type of ship, you're going to have a complimentary crew. So it's nothing for someone else who could have some piloting skills or PvP skills to use that to help protect you and the crew. So, yeah.
So, there was a little damage done, but it wasn't like the big, the really crazy, because of the melting. And if I had not melted, I wouldn't have done anything else beyond that. So that's where I was at. So, chat, we know that you guys probably did some of the same stuff. So hopefully you didn't spend too much money. Speaking of money spent, we found out today, we took a look at where they were in development, and it seems that CIG has paid $15 million a month, which rivals the amount of money they made in May during Invictus. Timmy, I know you had some thoughts about this. I'm going to ask you not to use any profanity. There was someone who had posted that we should boycott and not spend any money, and you predicted that was probably not going to go very far, and evidently it seems from the numbers you were right that either the community or new people or somebody still felt that supporting CIG was a good thing.
I'd say this. It's about, and this is my stance with Star Citizen as a whole. And from the time of learning about this, you have to do the groundwork. They said from the beginning, you're part of this process. That entails that you listen to these forums, you get on Spectrum, you listen to these videos of the stuff that they bring out about development. Regardless if you don't want to hear it or not, reach out to other people in the community. But there's groundwork that's required from all of us. And with that said, when you hear of things where a person will say one thing negatively about the whole aspect of the project, it tells me that they're not doing the groundwork and they're feeding off of the negativity of what someone else has said, to have that kind of mob mentality about something negative. And so with that said, I will, to be fair, I'll listen to what they have to say in that regard, and then assess it. And then either it's like, okay, you make a valid point, or I dismiss it to say, you're not even doing the groundwork you need to do about learning about this project. So it's dismissed because they just want to get a reaction from a bunch of people, or they want one aspect of the game to work when there's so many facets to this game and so many layers involved in this. And when you're talking about programming, it's very, very complex. So if you're a team member, you celebrate your teammates when you, in any corporate situation or corporate job, if you're part of the team, you work as a team. You don't badger and browbeat your teammate. It's about working together. And that's what this is what this whole project is about. We're part of this together. You edge them on and be positive about it. But at the same time, don't ignore some of the things that they mess up on. But it's a way to say things to people. It's a way to be respectful.
Okay, good point. Let me ask you something, Shiver, real quick. This is kind of, not only is it, we already know it's kind of historic in the sense of crowdfunding and, the project and everything. But, 15 million in May, 15 million this month, that's 30 million plus whatever else they've made. Next year we go into 2021, and there's a lot of stuff that's scheduled to happen next year. We know that we're moving into 4.0 next year. We know that they'll probably based on how the pandemic goes, there may be a CitizenCon next year. We know that there's a possibility that either, and this is any of these could possibly happen. We know that Vulcan could happen. We know that server meshing could happen. We know that iCache could happen. Is it possible for CIG to make even more money in 2021? And if they don't, if income and revenue all of a sudden falls off, is that a sign that the community is just kind of finally reaching their point where we've got everything we want and we're happy? Or is that a sign that maybe if there's not enough delivery of content or progress, that maybe the community is responding with their dollars?
That's a good question. I don't think this year is going to be unique in the amount of money made. I do think Star Citizen is going to break this record again. Maybe not next year. I think it will break it when Squadron actually releases, because there are still a huge chunk of people that are sat there waiting. I only want Squadron. And I'm happy to sit here and wait for just Squadron to release. And that, I think, is when it's going to really go for it. And that, as far as I remember, was the plan with CIG as well, was release Squadron and use the funds from that to finish off the persistent universe, or at least continue it. I don't think server meshing in and of itself, I don't think just is going to bring this huge amount of money on a scale that we've had this year. I think this year it was a bit unique because people are trapped at home. People are sat there going, I want something to play. So there are more people now who are just picking up a $40 Aurora, going into the persistent universe as it is right now and thinking, yeah, this is all right now. I'll wait a bit. And I think this year we've scraped up those people who are on the fence and were sitting around saying, I'm not sure. Next year, I would imagine we're still going to do pretty well on the funding. I don't think it'll be beaten. But then if you'd have asked last year, what's the funding going to be like in 2020? I don't think any of us would have sat here and said, oh, it's going to completely smash everything out. So it's a relative unknown, I would guess. But I'm erring towards not as much, but it's still going to come, because for every person that says, oh, don't give CIG money, there's going to be 5 other people who say, well, I want that.
Interesting. I have to kind of wonder, without having CitizenCon, I mean, I think CIG made a profit, don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of curious as to what the year would have been like if there was a CitizenCon versus not, right? I mean, did they actually make more money not having CitizenCon? Or would they have made more money if there was a CitizenCon? I'm just saying, I know it's all hypothetical, there's no way to know, but it's just kind of curious, because I think for most of us, I know for me, I knew they were going to make money this weekend. Did I think they were going to beat May with Invictus? No, I did not. I did not think that they were going to. Invictus was just an unusual. I mean, you guys already know the ingredients for Invictus. It's a weird thing. We had so much going on. I just didn't expect that now we'd have almost a repeat financially of what we saw happen. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Those are good insights from both you guys. I appreciate it. Those of you who are in chat, Admiral Kusanagi, good to see you. Mad Style, good to see you. Fast Cart, we already see you. We see you all the time. Thanks, guys, for hanging in there.
Some things don't change.
Yeah, we had a thing going by saying put in exclamation point Nomad. That's because we are going to be giving away Nomads today. We're giving away more than one, so you guys stick around. If you do already own a Nomad will be great for being able to upgrade to something else. But it's not started yet. I'll give you plenty of leeway as to when we're going to do it. I forgot I was setting up the giveaway thing and I left it on by accident. But I probably will start it within maybe the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll probably give them away every 30 to 40 minutes based upon how things go tonight. But we are going to give away some Nomads tonight for you guys because we really appreciate you all being here tonight and supporting us after we've been away for a week. So let's jump into it. We're going to jump into day one. Well, no, this isn't day one. These are in alphabetical order, guys. So forgive me for not putting them in the order of each day. Well, actually, I can. If you tell me which one we do. What was the first day? Was the first day
Consolidated?
Consolidated? Okay, let's go to them first. Okay, thanks,
Yes.
Kimmy. All right. So let's go to Consolidated. We all know Consolidated. We weren't really expecting this, but they brought out this thing called the Nomad. We knew the name, but none of us really knew what exactly the thing was beforehand. Shiver, give me your thoughts on the Nomad from when you saw it. What do you think?
The first thing that I thought was, oh my god, it hovers. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great.
It's a
Yes,
neat little ship. It breaks the mold in many ways because it's just such a unique design, and it's, I think, maybe sort of heralding the start of a new wave of starter ships.
Mm.
Maybe.
Mm. Blackhawk, thank you for
I
the
like
follow.
I like the Discovery style cargo bay boot area that's just open up. No doors, just open up. Gives me an idea of what to steal when I'm coming in on it.
Scuba Steve, thank you for the host. We appreciate that.
And of course, the thing that separates Star Citizen from pretty much every game that's ever come before in this sort of style are those interiors. The detail work on the interiors, the layout of the interiors.
Mm-hmm.
It sparks the imagination, and you can think to yourself, oh, I could be having a really good firefight in this corridor. Or what if someone snuck on this ship and hides there?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Okay. Kenny, what about you? What did you think about this this Nomad thing? Was it what you expected for a starter? More than you expected for a starter? What are your feelings about it?
again, similar to what you guys were saying. I thought it had something to do with refinery. Wasn't the case at all. And then I saw the pickup style cargo bay open. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? I don't want my stuff exposed. But yeah, it was heavily armed as well to balance it out. But then it made me theory craft a little bit. Now, with incoming of Pyro, this is a good situation to help pirates to be a little smart about what they're doing because of Death of Spacemen, where if you're able to, so your thought process is maybe paralyze the ship and then use the, what is that tool?
The anti-gravs, the multi-tool, the anti-grav thing?
Yes, to pull the cargo units, and that way your crime stats aren't that high. Because I think that it will carry some weight with Death of the Spaceman having to destroy a ship, and then it's not as trolly, so it opens the door to say, okay, have fun, but don't be extreme, and that Nomad kind of fills that gameplay, and then it expanded out to Consolidated, the play on Elon Musk, and then it was like, okay, it came into the big pictures to say, oh, it's the electric truck.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But Shiver made a great point about the gravity lev. That levitation tech is going to be transferred to all these other aspects of the medical beds, not just medical beds, but what else? Maybe used for salvage. How we can get things to levitate over, and cargo as well. Hauling large cargo and components as well. We were thinking like, okay, you have a big ship. Big cargo, not cargo, but components. How do you change those out with your the gravity lev?
Very good point.
Yeah,
Very
so
good point.
It was cool. It was cool.
I like
the price point.
Oh, there you go. Right, price point. Right, for a lot of people for entry. Now, again, this is probably the most expensive starter ship that's in game, but it does offer some things like a kitchen area. It offers a bed. It offers a large cargo area in the back. The one thing I didn't like about this ship, and there were a couple other people, my friend Gaz and some other people talked about this. I thought that when you look to the back of the ship, you know that little window that's there that lets you see into the cargo area?
Yes.
I was hoping that was a door. I honestly wanted it to be so that it was a door that slid and you could go straight to the back versus having to go down the side of the ship and around. It would have been nice if when you were able to load things on there, you could go, you could walk directly to that bed and not have to actually exit the ship to access it. That was the only thing that I wish that they had done. I like the fact that the window was there, but I honestly thought it was a sliding door. And then when I didn't see it, I was like, you got to actually get off the ship and then come back around, let the ramp down to get up there. So, but other than that, I thought it was an innovative design, definitely different from Consolidated, considering how all their other ships do touch the ground. For this one to be one that didn't, I thought was an interesting piece. So thanks. Those were good comments about that ship. The next ship that you guys know that was shown, and by the way, chat, we are going to be showing, just the holograms of the ships that were there. We're not going to show anything that was on the floor because we're talking about the ships that are either coming up or in concept in some form. And that's the Pioneer. Now, we've had the big Pioneer sale
Oui.
previously, but now the Pioneer came back up again. Evidently, the demand, if you guys remember this, when the Pioneer first came out, there was a lot of sarcasm from outside of the community and within the
No,
community.
not the community. No.
But the sarcasm was, what? They're selling land now? What is this about land and blah, 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 blah? What, are we going to
Scam.
be farmers
Scam.
now? But look at the response, that this was one of the ships that was on the wave sales and was selling out in no time flat at $750. So, and that was my next point. Kimmy, do you think that the homestead piece was, since we saw the videos now and we've seen these new graphics of homesteads, do you think that's kind of re-inspired people to take a second look at this whole thing of being able to build bases?
It's funny, when you think of the land, it's like, what the hell, man? I'm not going to purchase a damn square, a 4x4 or 8x8 of some damn rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Chris was like, hey, check this out. I've been watching Mandalorian. Now, what do you think about these homesteads?
Mm.
And people are like, OMG, wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the Pioneer is going to be building this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just like, okay, damn it, I got to get the Pioneer. It was a mad scramble. People were inflamed because they lost out on the sale, because you hear talk of, cursing. I was effing hitting F5.
Mm-hmm.
I was hitting the effing 5, and by the time I got in it showed sold out. That's some BS. That's some BS, man. And I'm like, wait a minute. Some of the community was griping about, oh, it's a scam. I'm getting this little square rock for $50. What? And now you see that while we were playing checkers, SIG were playing chess.
Good point.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Shiver,
the Pioneer.
Yeah, Shiver, what do you think about this with the Pioneer and the base building?
I think I agree with Kemi. I told you it would happen. You're right. The homesteads, there were people who got that first wave in there, and they had the hope and took the gamble of, well, be able to build stuff on planets. Yes. Yeah. And people weren't sure. We came across as, I'm only going to get so much of a square rock for building on. And then they actually showed off the concept, and people were like, damn, they were right. Now I want to be building stuff. It's another aspect. And there are people like me who love building games, building in the first person, building in the Star Citizen universe. It's going to be a lot of fun, because look at the way mining is right now. It's not just this simple click, wait. There's a lot more involved in it, getting everything absolutely just right. Because you watch this guy here, and he's mining away like a demon. And imagine what it's going to be like building. You're going to have to go and gather your own resources. You're going to use planet itself to actually construct these buildings, design the layout yourself. It's going to be great. You don't think you're going to use the resources on the planet itself? Well, no, I suppose, but you've got to organize getting the resources yourself in some way or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Be it mine off the planet you're on, be it go up in space, be it buy off a trade market. It slots nicely into the whole economy loop.
Mm.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, good. Okay, I'm going to jump around, guys. I'm not going to do this day by day because I forgot that there are certain manufacturers on multiple days. And Fast Card, I appreciate you putting that information there, but I am an idiot. I'm not going to be able to read all that stuff. So I'm just going to do them in alphabetical order, and that way I don't miss anybody, because I know I'll miss somebody if I try and go down that order. Okay, so that was our stuff on Consolidated on day number 1. Let me jump over. This is going to go to our wonderful folks at Aegis. We're going to hit them next. Here's a ship, the Polaris. Boom. What do we have to say about this particular ship? We know that this went on sale a little while back. I'm sorry, not the Polaris. I'm sorry, the Nautilus. Nautilus. Zoning out here. The Nautilus, the mine layer, right? This was a ship when it first came out that a lot of people were kind of hemming and hawing about too. They loved the idea of it having these big size 7 guns in the front, but they also looked at it being more of a specialty ship with minesweeping. I don't know. This was another popular ship. It didn't sell out like the Pioneer did. I don't even think this was limited. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Pioneer was limited. Do you think at that price point, 700? I think it's 750. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a ship that people are definitely going to be putting to good use? Is it just for orgs? You need 10 of them in order for them to be effective. And I'll throw it to you, Shiver, first time around. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it looks gorgeous. I would buy it just based on looks. But I think a lot of the counter arguments against the ship are it's a mine layer in space. I can fly over or under the minefield, which is a fair comment. So you've got to be able to use it in a smart way. It's not a ship that you're just going to be able to say, just put some mines there, done, safe. Someone went round it. Oh dear. It's something you're going to have to use in a tactical or strategic sense. It's something that you're either going to be used as you're a gun for hire in a larger group. It's something you're maybe going to use in your own leg to say, well, the only way to get to System X or this part of System X is through this bottle loop. So I'm going to hide my current cargo stash that I can't take all in one behind this thing here, and I'm going to lay out a mine, and I'll know things like that. So it's definitely very specialized, and not everyone's into the whole mine laying thing in space. It does require a heck of a tactical mind to really deploy and use properly. So I can see why it's not quite as popular, but why it should be in the game as well, because it's going to serve a very specialized niche. It's like the ambulance ships, the Apollo and the Cutlass Red. Not everyone wants to be a space paramedic, but it needs to be in there. It needs to be a role that's very specialized. It needs to be good at what it does.
Timmy?
I would basically, what I would do is I'm going to lay out a situation. I'll place it as situational. And when we're talking these military ships, there's quite a few of us who are dialed in on PvP. So I'll lay it out like this. Imagine whether it's NPC, which is pirate, vandal, or other actual military style ships that are coming after you or coming out to your area to attack. You lay those mine sweeps, especially if you're outgunned or outmaneuvered, or not outmaneuvered, but outgunned by a large org that's coming towards you, then they're going to be restricted to focus on those mines or just bring like single seat or small ships through that maze prior to, coming in with these large capital ships. They won't be able to maneuver. And so either you can use that as a strategy to fight back and take out the single seat fighters, or to try and escape. So it's a situational ship in that regard. When you're talking about when we start getting these large player counts into the game, the mine layer, that's a great form to strategize your tactics, where it's going to limit these larger ships coming in on you to attack, especially if you're dealing with some serious firepower coming your way. That ship is essential to what you need to do to get the hell out of Dodge if the zone gets too hot.
Okay. Good points. I'm looking forward to seeing it. One thing I like about Star Citizen is that they're providing so many different avenues and careers. I know we have talked about this before in the past, that Star Wars Galaxies had so many careers, and some careers people were not interested in. Some people didn't care about being an animal handler, but there were people who loved being an animal handler. And so there will be those people who minesweeping is their thing, like you said, Shiver, logistics or strategy type. That's their thing, where there are other people who just want to run and gun. So the fact that they're giving all these options, and some of them may be options that we're not personally interested in, I think is really a good thing for CIG too. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is a ghost ship. It's a ship that there's Kelosal. Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
He's made it. Let me get rid of my box so we can get him in here. He's trying to get in. At least I thought he was trying to get. He's getting his camera set up. So guys, bear with our graphics here for a second. When Kolosal's camera comes in, I can get us all squared away. When I call this a ghost ship, I'm saying this is a ship that many people purchased many years ago. There was a lot of hubbub about this ship with what was it called?
Redeemer.
No, what was the contest called? The something Great Starship.
Next
remember?
Great Starship.
Next Great Starship, right? And folks were really pumped up and hyped up about this ship, and then all of a sudden, kaboom! Nothing for a long time, right? And then, all right, we're gonna have to move some people's bodies around here as Kelosal comes in. I'll do that while you guys are talking. But then it gets resurrected, and we see a hologram and images of the ship,
Yes.
and people get excited all of a sudden again. There he is. There's Kelosal. Yep. And so let me start with you, Kimmy, this time around. The Redeemer. It has shifted a little bit. It's changed a little bit. We haven't seen the new interior, but we have seen the new exterior. What do you think about what you've seen on the design of the ship? Do you think that they've done it justice in comparison to what was there before?
Well, as John Crew alluded to, he calls it the Nutcracker, the nacelles on the sides. It pretty much kept that kind of design. So with that said, most of the ship is intact as far as it being consistent. Again, it's another drop ship. Unfortunately, SIG created 2 or 3 drop ships before that. So this was the one from the reveal of the FPS with Ilphonic and the Redeemer, the Marines versus the Pirates in the station. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be, there's always going to be room for military style ships, PvP. The community can't get enough of that. But yeah, it sticks to the style or the style guidelines from the first concept. And it's also integrated into the pipeline of how the current tech is. So I believe it's going to work, and it's a sigh of relief for the people who actually, back this ship with that next great starship contest. So it's good to see it, that SIG is sticking to their narrative to say, hey, we're going to do this. It's in the concept. Here we go.
All right. Also, we're just talking about the holograms that were being shown, and while I'm getting Shiver in place here, give us your thoughts about the Redeemer. Are you excited about seeing the CIG has moved forward with it, or are you still curious?
There's still more to be desired, I guess. I mean, we haven't seen much, pretty much, other than the exterior. So, I mean, there are people, whoever purchased the Redeemer, excited. Redeemer, because I'm not a drop ship type guy. I'm still waiting on the BMM. But if we're staying focused on that, I mean, it's exciting to see what they've done, at least what they've come out with so far. I'm still encouraged, just like the rest of you guys said, Kimmy, to see what they did interior wise, because all I can see right now interior wise is what we saw years ago. That's all I remember. I remember you going inside from, I believe from the back, and then there's a step up for the bridge, and I believe from the bridge area there was like a little turret area in the turret, I believe, is one area. I'm still seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe one thing that really interested me was when you went back into the regular common area, I believe, coming from the bridge back into the regular common area, there's like another area over to the left, just right underneath the stairs area, something like that. That I think it was a turret or something like that. You got in it. It was another area for the bottom turret. So if I remember that correctly, that's all I remember about the Redeemer.
Mm-hmm.
There was a kitchen.
Right. Absolutely. So that's all I remember. So, like I said, I would be the worst person to ask about the Redeemer right now, because I'd be like, I don't see anything.
Okay, fair enough. Shiver,
it's been a while.
Yeah, Shiver, do you own one, or you ever flown one, or don't really care? It's not your gameplay.
Funny story.
Uh-oh.
I hated that ship when it first came out. I thought, why do I want a ship with hair straighteners on the side of it? And it was actually the interior that sold me on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one. Screw it. I want a coffee maker in my drop ship. And then they stopped selling it, and I was gutted. But I'm kind of keen on it, even with the hair straightener still attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks a bit mean.
Yeah.
I know that. What's the name of the Tavaran drop ship?
The Prowler.
Prowler. I know that thing looks like some sort of monster with 2 great big arms when it lands, and that is intimidating. But there's just something about that Redeemer that looks like it looks like you would expect a military ship to look like. That
and hold a bunch
you
of
see
badasses.
that flying in, lands down, and you just see that and you think to yourself, I think I'm in trouble.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I know for me, I've hoped, and you know how you were talking about the hair straighteners, right, on the sides, right? I was actually hoping that those would open up and turn, so that that inner side where the energy is actually faces downward when it lands. So that would actually become like a cushion as it landed, and then they would rotate and animate back into that V position when the thing took off. I thought that would be really, really cool. I don't know if they'll do that.
Too long.
But it would be really cool to see an animation like that, so that it would make some type of sense for why those scissors are there beyond just forward propulsion, which is, it's okay. But I've gave plenty of people the advice when they asked me, should you melt that ship? I would tell people, if you really wanted it, I suggest you hold on to it. And the only reason why I said that was because the track record of CIG when it comes to rework, so far, virtually every ship they've reworked was always better than what it was before. So I've always felt that, is it worth taking a chance and maybe getting an even better ship than what you thought you were going to have, then maybe it would be worth keeping. A lot of folks melted it because a lot of people got frustrated. A lot of people got frustrated waiting on it and said, you know what, I can upgrade this to something else, or I can melt it, because CIG's never going to do it, especially when there was a lot of going back and forth about whether they would keep it with Aegis or whether they would move it to a different manufacturer. So, I'm happy that they're finally doing it, and I'm happy for the people that own them. I don't own it. This is a gunship. I don't own it. I do appreciate the fact that they've moved it exclusively to gunship versus gunship transport. Was supposed to be like a transport dropship. And I'm glad that they just kind of moved away from that dual role, even though you can still do some of that. But I still like the fact that it's a gunship. So that's what we have to say about the good old Redeemer.
There's some people still waiting on that VTOL freelancer for that rework.
Yeah, that'll be another rework. That'll be a whole nother rework. Okay, let's go to the next ship now that you mentioned that.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah, Colossal, is your last man in. I'll let you comment on this one first. Yeah, this is a ship that I think a lot of people are anticipating, folks who are outside of especially the combat realm. The good old Vulcan, made by Aegis. Any thoughts about this ship? Do you think it's going to come anytime soon? The ship has 3 things that it's supposed to do: repair, right, refueling, and restocking. 3 R's. Any thoughts about that?
I mean, it's a great ship. I mean, we had conversations whether if it was a starter ship or if it was just a low-level entry ship that would allow people to earn money quickly. I mean, I think a lot of people are encouraged with the drones that it has, that will allow it to refuel, and things like that. So, I mean, it's a great ship for, I mean, you won't have to worry about getting, I mean, the only other ship that comes close to that would be, I mean, once they get it operational, if not the Reclaimer, let's put the Reclaimer to the side. I mean, because that's just too big of a ship. But the only ship that would come close to that would be, let's put the Starfarer to the side. A Carrack, right? Because the Carrack also has drones that can also go ahead and be able to refuel, possibly repair, possibly, depending on if they're going to go ahead and have your drones modular. So, I mean, but this is a good ship. How many does it have? A crew of what? 3, I believe. Is it a crew of 3 or 1 or 2? So we're on somewhere between 1 and 3.
I don't remember what the complement is on this one. I don't
Okay.
know. FC, if you're out there, can you toss it out for us? If you can look it up for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe it's somewhere between 1 to 3. And I mean, this is a great ship to have when everything starts to get kicking with salvaging, but they have to put in salvage first before we can even see, sniff the ship. Okay. So, I mean, they could bring it in and be like a Starfarer, but like I said, you'll be sitting there basically saying, hey, I'm here to do nothing until they put the salvage in the game. Right. So it's a great ship.
Thank you, Star Helix. Star Helix says minimum of 1, maximum of 3 on this particular ship.
There you go.
Okay. Real quick, guys, we're going to start one of our first giveaways in just a second. When you see it pop up on the screen, just a second, you want to type !Nomad, !Nomad. We're giving away several Nomads today. Let me jump to you, Shiver, because Colossal mentioned something in particular that not only impacts this ship, but many other ones, and that's drones. This ship is totally based on drones. And not only this ship, but there are a lot of other ships that we've seen now where drones are a part of their need. Even the Carrack, we got drones there. Reclaimer, drones there. There's another one there. What's the other one I'm forgetting? There's another ship that's got drones.
The Orion?
The Orion, drones. Yes. And so, and particularly this ship. I mean, this ship without drones means nothing. So, are we starting to think that, the other one was the Nautilus drones, right? So, are drones going to become a priority in order to start seeing these ships, become something that's practical in the Star Citizen universe? And I know this may be tied into other things in relation to like iCache, where you're tracking items, especially like for the drones that are dropped with the Nautilus, where they remain persistent and we know where they are. But do you think that we'll see anything in relation to drones? Like Kelosal said, salvage is even impacted by this. I think that's going to be a priority for CIG.
Well, they're hiding and implying.
Hang on. That's for
right
Shiver.
now.
That's for Shiver. That's for Shiver this time. Go ahead, Shiver.
I think there's a huge tech problem right now that they can't put them in because of the way that the game works right now. Is you've just got this massive world and everything's rendered. What they want to do or jump over the hurdle of is the fact that you will be on this ship, probably controlling another drone X away, way out of your particular range that's being rendered. So the game has got to render and be aware of you in the seat, in the ship, and also have this drone, off camera over there, rendering everything that you can see with the drone and have that interact and send it back in real time to you that's outside of the same physics grid. Goodness only knows what this range is going to be. And that's, all completely theoretically possible, of course. But the most we've seen that sort of thing in things like Battlefield, where they have remote missiles. And that's, the size of Battlefield is like that compared to Star Citizen's entire universe. So it's a huge technological leap to get over. But I think once they get that in there, once they've got that going, drones are going to be a massive game changer, because look at them now. In the pretty early stages of drone technology now, what we've got is quite amazing. Then when they put them in 2950, or whatever the year is going to be when we've got them in there, it's going to be amazing. The things that you could do, different types of drones that you could do, the amount of control you can have with these drones. Salvaging, repair, rearm. The only downside is, what are you going to do if all your drones are shot down or lost? And was it you, Griffin, who hasn't seen the latest episode of Discovery?
Yes, I haven't seen it.
Right. Close your eyes, because I've got a joke about this. Close your eyes, close your ears.
Oh God, go ahead.
Good thing I'm not a doctor.
Hey, you're going to make somebody in chat mad.
They're changing the name of this ship to the Neva.
Okay.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you did not.
Coffee Gaming, thank you so much for the subscription. We appreciate that. All right, guys, the raffle is now going, gangs. If you type in exclamation point Nomad, exclamation point Nomad to be able to be eligible for the giveaway. Exclamation point Nomad. Okay. Alrighty.
That's what I give the Shiver.
Okay, thank you. Exclamation point Nomad. Awesome.
Wow.
Thanks, guys. Okay, Kimmy, in relation to the Nomad, here's my simple question. Will we see it anytime soon, or is this kind of a long way off? What do you think?
You said in relation to the Nomad.
I'm not Nomad. I'm sorry, not Nomad. I'm thinking about the giveaway.
Night.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the giveaway. In relation to the Vulcan, will we see it anytime soon, or is it still a long way away?
Oh man, he changed the content of the question. It's up to SIG, man. I mean, it's to know that they have 3D model. It's really up to them. When we're talking about the expansion of the systems that we're gonna start to deal with fuel as an actual gameplay element, and the fact that now we're talking about inventory caching, the physicalized items now. Fuel is going to be the next thing. Being able to jump to these systems. The fuel, I think that mechanic is going to be the elephant in the room real soon when we're talking about the actual expansion of these systems. And I'm sure that's on the docket for SIG to start implementing. So, yeah, I can say it's probably sooner than later.
Okay. If I'm remembering correctly, you shared with me a great story how you took the MSR out, I think, and you said you were flying around enjoying yourself. and all of a sudden you saw the indicators go off saying you were running out of fuel, right? And you ended up having to land the ship. But if that gameplay mechanic had been in, right, you could have called and had somebody, boom, right?
Yes.
Which would have been very, very cool. So I think that would have been very, very cool. And yeah, you do run out of fuel in this game, guys. I've had it happen to me before too.
I wanted to say this one thing real quick. The thing about the drones.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that this tech is hiding in plain sight in front of us. When you look at the aspect of the carrot, when you get in its turret, what does it do? It puts you into a remote control situation, right? So you're not actually physically looking in front of you. It puts you in the remote.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other aspect, now they have these floating turrets. At first, when I first noticed them, I thought it was a bug that, some of the assets were not being rendered.
Mm-hmm.
But those were actual floating turrets that they have out there now. So, what's stopping them to attaching the remote controls to these turrets, which then they can reface or repurpose as robots or drones.
Yeah.
So it's right there in front of us.
Okay. You're right. Not far away. Not far away at all. Okay. Good points, guys. All right. Let's jump. Go ahead. You want to say something, Kelosal, before I jump?
I mean, I do like to say that the ship matrix was updated with that ship a week ago.
Oh, really?
So, within a week. Also, the Crucible was also updated.
Yeah, I know
the
Crucible was. Yeah,
I had a friend who got rid of a Crucible for the Vulcan.
Okay.
But like I said, we'll see. I don't know until they can get that tech in game. You probably won't see this ship anytime soon. I just don't want to put a price on that or date.
So what you're saying is there's a remote possibility.
Everything's a remote possibility, right? Everything's possible. So yeah, I can say that.
Wait.
A remote
Kelosal, don't entertain him. He was being funny. Don't entertain him, please. Don't entertain him. He's a guest, but don't entertain him. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, let's move on to our next manufacturer. Anvil Aerospace. I'm not a big Anvil fan, but I have bought Anvil ships. And Kelosal, since you mentioned it, let's talk about it. The Crucible. We see the hologram for it. A lot of people in the early days, this is one of those ships from a long time ago that people put up money for that repair. It does have a modest amount that it does do on salvage as well. Is this something that's a long way off in the, is this like Endeavor long way off, or is this, right around the corner or somewhere in between?
I mean, I would put this as a Starliner long way off.
Okay.
Haven't heard anything about it since 2015, 17?
2015 when we saw that footage.
Haven't heard really. What was that?
Yeah, it was like 2015 when we saw that long piece of footage that was in 2015. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's nice to see a physical 3D of it finally. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the aspects of it. I love the 360 bridge and things like that and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Love the fact that you can go ahead and detach the main hub from the ship. Love the fact that it can go ahead and it's considered a heavy repair. So it can jump on capital ships and even smaller ships and things like that. We saw a matrix where you saw a Retaliator and other ships that could also fit in the main area of the Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, until we can get some evidence of recycling, which hopefully we can see some of that around 3/12, if not next year, first quarter. I don't anticipate this ship coming in until fourth quarter of next year, maybe.
Interesting prediction. Interesting. Okay. Kimmy, do you think that when this ship comes out, do you think it will be tied to the fact that, once they get a ship like, the smaller version of repair, the Vulcan, do you think that automatically means that the Crucibles will be pretty much like right behind it? Or do you think because of its size and the level of that it does repairs, because this thing does like major repairs, do you think it'll still take a while for them tech-wise to put out the Crucible?
Well, with both ships, you're going to need this. You're going to need iCache. You're going to need physicalized items now the exact materials numbered to say I need to repair this X amount of surface of the ship.
Mhm.
So with ICAST slated for mid-June or June 2021, anything after that is possible because you're talking about having all those materials needed by these types of ships.
Mhm.
And with the advent of the eventual expansion, and this is going to open the door for PvP, it's going to be a lot of people in bad, damaged states where it's going to be really hitting the servers hard to get these repairs done by the server. And then you're already talking about getting in the back of the line, waiting in line to get your ships repaired. It would make sense for them to start looking at bringing one or both ships online to help ease those pains from the server having to generate your new ship.
Okay. Shiver, we talked about careers earlier. Is this a career ship or is this an org ship? I mean, somebody going to be able to like say, I just want to do repairs and stuff, and that's what I want to do, and people will hire them. Maybe because, like Kimmy said, this becomes like the tow truck that comes out and repairs you if something. Or is it going to be more that orgs will put something like this to use and just have it at their disposal? Or do you think it's equal on both sides?
I think / hope a bit of it could be both. Because you've got the way the components are being tuned and things like that. So someone may specialize in doing these repairs and tuning at the same time. Orgs will also be saying to themselves, we've got this huge battle coming up. Who's going to go on the repair ship so we can quickly repair things slightly behind the front line? So you can go in and order, I'll go to the Crucible, I'll repair there. Then I'll go over to the guy who's got the Vulcan and I'll rearm there. Then I'll go back over to the front line. But I think the Crucible represents a top end of the loop because there is so much in it. Like Kelosal was saying, it's got, first of all, under the hood, tech-wise, it's got this rotating bridge. It's got the ability to have things dock into it, dock out of it, pieces of the ship being taken off, pieces of the ship being put back on, pieces of the ship being repaired. You need the actual coding for all of this in there as well. Then they also need to look at how going to have repair work in the game. Are we going to have it a simple, you need geranium plating and titanium holes to be able to take off this sheet here and put it on there? Then how are they going to get that? Are they going to go and mine that themselves? Are they going to refine that on the ship? Are they going to go and have to pick it up and all this sort of thing? So I think it's going to be at a latter end of a loop. Or if they put it in sooner than that, it's going to be more simplistic like we have now of ship comes up to Crucible, docks on ship, timer goes down, ship is repaired, but then they'll change it and throw it out because tier 0 implementation kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I think my thoughts on this ship is I've just been kind of wondering who's going to put this to use, and we were talking about careers and orgs, but I really thought about was pirates, because if you've got crime stats and stuff, you can't go into certain places to get repair work done. So unless they've got some chop shop that's on some moon somewhere that you've heard about, which I'm sure they probably will have something like that in the game, I can easily see that people who are operating these are people who may be fixing the ship for those lesser types who have, they don't have the great status in the system, but independently they'll pay the money and have someone fix their ship. I agree with Kimmy 100%. iCache has got to happen. Once you start introducing components, parts, all that other good stuff, the tracking of that, repairing of that. I think even, what's it called? Not upgrading, but when you want to improve components. What's that called? What's that called, Kelosal? What you use the Endeavor for when you want to improve the quality of stuff?
I mean, modify.
It's what you can do with the Endeavor, with the Super Collider. You can make stuff better.
Modules.
No.
Oh, you talking about
There's a term I'm trying to think of. Somebody in chat help me. Thank you, Star Helix. Overclocking. Overclocking. Yes. Thank you, Star. We always have such a great chat. Thank you, Envoy. Yes, that's what we want to be able to do. Okay. It's just another consideration of something to think about in relation to that ship. Let's see. Was that all that we had for the offerings? It was. The Crucible was all we had from Anvil this year that was out there in the water. Yeah.
One point about the Crucible, the main point about this ship and why I pursued it and why I don't understand Colosal's friend traded it off for the Vulcan. They said this. your ship comes off the showroom floor. It's one material. You get involved with the crucible, you can make the material or the hull even more stronger than what the manufacturer will spit out. And I said to myself, OMG, I got to have this ship, because then you're talking about fortifying and modifying or upgrading the ship as a whole in your type of repair or entire repair of that hull of that ship. So, wow, I can't wait for it to come online.
Mm-hmm. I think that maybe Colosal's friend was kind of like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, maybe. You know, they might have saw that the Vulcan was coming sooner than the Crucible and just don't want to wait.
I hope, maybe they saw something I didn't see. I didn't see that.
You didn't see it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So we'll see.
Fair enough. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. And this is one that manufacturer that's really been busting out recently. We got the Argo Mole, and now we are moving into this whole thing with the SRV. Let me ask you guys, this is a general question. You can just give me a general consensus on this one. Do you think that they're showing us these holograms because CIG said something? I think Sean Tracy did at one point. I want to freeze this shot here. Sean Tracy said something that really stuck with me. Sean Tracy said, "We have a lot of ships that are ready to go. We just haven't released them yet." Do you think that outside of mechanics, and I understand some of them may not have their game mechanics like a lot of the other ships, are they showing us this just for eye candy's sake, or are they showing us this because this is the most we've had of holograms? And these holograms are not like the last ones where they're all more wireframe. I mean, we're seeing detail. We're seeing what looks like, after gray box versions of this. Of course, they're exteriors. They're not interiors. Do you think that because we're seeing them and they're showing us these, that these may be much closer in time to come out? Because there are some ships we didn't see. We didn't see the Orion. We didn't see the Banu Merchantman. There are some other ships we didn't see. There were other ships that they did not show. These are all, a few of them are big ships, but some of these ships like the SRV, and especially with cargo coming, Kimmy just mentioned this about the whole gravity thing. Are they showing us this because this stuff maybe isn't so far away, maybe within the year, some of these ships? And I'll just toss that out to whoever wants to answer on that one.
Don't be shy, guys.
I mean, they could. I mean, look, this was the first time we saw the 3D looking like this. I mean, pretty much. So that basically, anybody could take a guess. Okay, are these ships done? They could be. The question is the tech done along with it? So, I mean, are they willing to push out a ship that could be as good looking as a Starfarer, but could be as inactive as a Starfarer? So, I mean, these ships are wonderful looking. They're great. They're obviously looks like they're done. I mean, but we've heard something from them before, saying that there are a lot of ships that are done. They just can't put out yet until they get the go, or they may not be able to put out because of Squadron 42. Okay. So, I mean, your guess is just as good as mine. But until they, but it's encouraging to see the progress. We said that within the next 6 months that they were going to be dishing out a lot of stuff, and here we are within those 6 months, and we got a lot more months to go, and we're seeing a lot of good content from CIG. So it's quite encouraging to see the development.
Kimmy, in light of the cargo, and the cargo decks and all the other stuff that's coming out, right? In light of docking coming out, in light of possibly the whole sea coming out, does the SRV all of a sudden become crucial, become important now when it comes to moving cargo or towing vehicles? In other words, I'm saying, is this ship going to become much more popular in light of cargo becoming more popular? Because we saw these new containers. For those of us who saw the whole sea, we know they got these containers and stuff. Is that going to become something that people are going to want to get into? Just literally working at a station, you know what I mean? And just moving stuff back and forth. Will people want to do that, or do you think that'll be more of an NPC kind of thing?
I think people will definitely want to do that.
That was for Kimmy. Yeah, that was for Kimmy.
Oh, sorry, Kimmy.
Well, no, you're good. You're good, Kelosal. I was listening, man. I'm with the fact that they're gonna expand out. There's no freaking way I'm gonna be stuck at a station hauling cargo, man. I want to get out there and see what the hell is out there.
Okay, but you don't think there'll be people that will want to do that? That's what I'm saying. You say that's what you want to do, but I'm saying, do you think that people will take it as a career, or do you think they'd rather just let NPCs do it?
I would say immediately if it had something to do with an org. If you have these established homesteads or have an orbiting station that has this cargo, then you're the runner for your community or your org. Then yeah, I could see a person designated to do that and that type of function with this game fully fleshed out with that gameplay loop. Yeah, you send somebody up out in the atmosphere and to the orbiting space station to get your haul. You know, after the hull miss delivers it, you know, you load it up in your Nomad and bring it down to the surface and then distribute accordingly, right?
Mm-hmm. Good point.
So I could see it in that functionality, but not stuck to a station and you don't see crap.
Okay.
You know, it's like, I don't know about that.
Okay. Well, Shiver, let me ask you this. In light of what Kimmy just said, is this good for pirates? You're moving illegal stuff. You can't go to a station, and you need to get your stuff off of a hull D or a hull E or whatever. Does this SRV become a tool for groups like that who've got to be able to get those cargo containers moved around?
I mean, it's certainly got that potential, hasn't it? Because if you're going to unload something off the back of a lorry, you're going to do it a lot faster with a forklift than by hand. So if you've got a caterpillar waiting for you there, it's going to make unloading this hull E a heck of a lot faster and a heck of a lot easier. And when you're pirating like that, you want to, you know, unload the truck as fast as you can. You want to load up your gear and get out of there as fast as you can, because every second that you're messing around is first of all money that you're not earning. Second of all, the risk that someone's going to come and attack you or respond to a distress call. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Fullback mentions a good point here too. He says people are definitely going to use this to bypass custom. So that does introduce another dynamic. If you got something you don't want reported, whatever those items, or you just don't want to pay the money for some people, you know, Kimby, I hate to tell you, but there might be some people who that's all they're going to do is work them docks, brother. They say, listen, drop that paper in my hand, brother, because I know you got that illegal stuff on here. And they may be
Otis Redding smiling, sitting on the top of the bay.
There you go. There may be some folks who that's going to be their thing. Okay. All right. Good points, gang. All right. Let's go to the heartbreaker of the convention. For me, this was a serious heartbreaker.
No, you didn't.
But for those of you who were witness to the pull in by CIG. For those of you who awoke that morning and saw a trailer that showed a C2 sitting on the expo floor, my good friend Kelosal, tell him what happened, Kelosal. Tell him what happened, brother. What happened when you woke up that morning?
It was shame on you, CIG. Shame on you for getting me up early in the morning, looking at Whitley's guide and seeing Jax come out of that C2 on the exhibition floor. So the first thing I'm doing, I'm talking to several friends. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go ahead and get in the game. So I go ahead and get in the game, and I have to calm myself down. There is no C2. There is no C2. There is no C2. And then when I get there, and there was no C2 on the floor. So shame on you, CIG, for putting one of the best stunts I've seen in a long time by getting
didn't put his pants on or anything.
I was in pajamas running to the exhibition floor. I mean, it was a great move by CIG, but what a twist! What a twist!
Well, it could have been worse. At least they had the MSR sitting in its spot, you know. But you got out there and there was nothing there. You really would have lost your mind, right?
Listen, you have a gripe. Go ahead.
No. You know what? I don't have a gripe. I hate to say it, but I was like Kelosal. I kind of said, no, it can't be. Even though, Kimmy, you know, you and I had talked about the possibility of the C2 because we knew that a lot of the exterior work was done on it. We had that conversation on Friday Night Live saying, well, there was a good possibility that even if we couldn't get in it, we may be able to see it on the show floor. And so when it was there, like Kelosal, I saw the video and I'm like, oh, shoot. And I just, there was something inside of me that just said, nah, it can't be on the floor. It can't be. And then, of course, like you said, you come up the stairs and you look out there and it's
Check the
like,
Christmas tree. Go check out the Christmas tree.
yeah, right. Exactly. Shiver, the C2 seems to be that people are excited about this whole Hercules Starlifter thing. I did an upgrade, as I shared with you guys earlier. What do you think about that ship? Is it going to be the big daddy of cargo hauling? What do you think of it?
I mean, one of the things that CIG want to avoid are cookie cutter builds. They don't want this ship is the ship you use all the time for whatever you transport. It's definitely going to be you use this to transport this, or you're going to use this to transport this because of X, Y, and Z. That said, it's gorgeous, isn't it? And it's huge, and I love huge ships. I'm a size queen for ships.
Now, let me ask you this, Kimmy. There are 3 variants of this ship, right? C2, M2, A2. As you move up progressively, you move from more of a civilian transport to a military transport, yes, to what ultimately is a bomber with minimal cargo. It's still got some cargo, but that C2 is the one that really, you can put vehicles in, tanks, you can put a whole lot of stuff in it. It seems to be this has been a really popular line of ships, and you mentioned this, I think, last week, talking about Crusader Industries and Orison. I think they even have like statues of these ships outside of their headquarters on Orison. What's the benefit to this ship versus any other cargo ships in your mindset? Basically from what you saw from that video, what you know about the Crusader C2, what is the benefit of this one over any of the other, like a Caterpillar or any other cargo ships we have right now?
Like you all alluded to, this is the big mamma jamma when we're talking about cargo as a whole, and this is really pivotal to the economy system as a whole itself, because you're talking about large quantities of cargo being shipped out, and then you also, that's kind of interchangeable, right? It's not just cargo, but that's one of the aspects of this ship. It's a multi-purpose ship, cargo, vehicles, you name it. You'll be able to transport this stuff in mass. And I just had an aha moment here why we may not have seen the C2 as of yet. Same situation with the MISC hull, them working through an iCache, these items. Being able to transport these large number of cargo units. They don't have the entire size cargo units ready to be transported yet. If you look at some of the streamers or some of the content where even you put a rock gray cat inside of a ship, it gets the shakes because it's not physicalized. So once they scale up physical items like the cargo units, you're not going to see, like, potentially, if we were to do it now, you would see not hundreds, but 1,000 cargo units in this one ship. That's crazy, right? That would kill the network. We don't have strong enough computers to run that. But now, when you're talking about scaling up with the physical items, then you might see just 4 giant units inside that C2. Mm-hmm. But basically, according to number, it's thousands of cargo units in itself. So I think that's the linchpin that is holding this back, even though it's going to... Listen, SIG does not do anything just for the hell of it, just to do it. It's within purpose. Yep. We know that by now. They don't have time to be messing around. If they did, they would have fixed all the bugs we're encountering. But every move that they make, each process that they do, it's time spent on meaningful things. So yes, expect this ship once they get the underlying tech ready for it.
I think your point about the grid is spot on, Kimmy. And we saw that when we get to MISC, we'll see why. Because if when you look at the hologram that was used for the Hull C, you'll notice that the containers there are completely different than the containers that were on the concept drawings and any of the other drawings we've seen. They match the cargo containers that we see now on the cargo decks. So you're absolutely right, yes, Kimmy. And I think they even said that we're trying to come up with the metrics where we couldn't put each individual box. We'd have thousands of boxes. So we're going to have one box, but whether that one box holds 100 units or 500 units or 1,000, yes, what they're working through. So you're spot on that. Okay, so that was the C2. And I'm sorry, I actually did these in reverse as far as the graphics go, even though we talked about the Crusader C2. The other ships that were there from Crusader are, which was the first one that we had up here, Shiver, the Ares, and what's the other one? The Ares and what are the two ships with the guns, the big guns on them? Ares and
is one.
I forget what the other one's called. Kelosal, what's the other one called? You know the name of those ships.
Inferno, right?
The Inferno. Yes, thank you. Yeah. What do you guys think about these ships? Let me start with Shiver on this one. Shiver, you got any thoughts about the Ares and the Inferno? Crusaders fighters, size 7 gun, if I'm remembering. 1 ballistic, 1 energy. Uh-oh, we can't hear you.
Helps if I unmute myself. Love guns. The bigger, the better.
Wow.
I love the fact that they've basically...
Yeah, they're both Ares. One is Inferno, one is Ion.
Thank you.
They're not quite a glass cannon. They're more for, I suppose, kiting, really. Shoot, move, get out. Hope you're not going to get hit, because it's going to have the maneuverability on it and a huge gun on it. Probably at the cost of either armor, shields, or both. It's something that you're going to need a iron will resolve to get in and think to yourself, okay, I need to be able to fly, I need to be able to shoot, and I need to hope that no one's going to, my opponent is going to die, or I can outmaneuver him. It's a true skill-based ship. For combat.
For combat, yeah. Kelosal.
I love it.
What do you think? Do you have any favoring one over the other? Do you take the energy over ballistic or ballistic over energy when it comes to this ship?
I would take the Ion, by the way. I mean, because these ships, if we're looking at Crusader Industries, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these ships are meant and designed for capital ships.
Mm-hmm.
We know this, or mid-level ships. I got a feeling that if you get close to these ships with a smaller ship, you may be able to handle this ship if you get close enough. But these ships obviously have the guns to go ahead and take care of the hulls of larger sized vessels. I would rather get I believe if I'm not correct, the Ion, simply because of the fact that I just want to go ahead and just, I want to be like a little mini Death Star, as you just go ahead and press the little red button and she just punches the hole in the ship, and then you can just go ahead and move away and let your fleet just come on through and clean up the mess. Because that's what she's going to be designed to do.
Okay.
But once again, you always got strengths and weaknesses, and if you're looking for weaknesses with this ship, you get a couple of smaller ships within range of this ship. I don't know if she's going to be maneuverable enough to get away from that.
Okay. Kimmy, I'll throw the last question at you in relation to Crusader. We've known Crusader to be more in relation to, first, the Genesis Starliner, right? We knew that they had the whole transport kind of thing going on. Even in their variants, that was a big deal for them. VIP transport, even military transport. Then they put out the Hercules series, the Starlifters, right? Those are transport. But with these ships, they've stepped into the combat side of things. Do you think Crusader, this will just be their one-off ships? Or do you think Crusader will expand even more, putting out combat level ships? Because this is really the only thing, these two ships are the only things they have that represent combat right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Hercules Starlifters do, those two variants. Do you think that that's a sign that they're going to be kind of going forward that transportation side as well as combat, and we'll see more combat from them?
Definitely so. I agree with that, that they are more focused on now that you understand what Orson is about, the landing zone. It's going to be a place of relatively, more or less, it's going to be peaceful there, right? Mm-hmm. Based on these two ships. And if you're coming to think that you can step in and do some things in that area unlawful, they're well equipped. But with that said, like you guys alluded to, these two ships pack a punch, but to a limit. So with that said, SIG is always thinking a few steps ahead of the game. So when you're thinking about these ships and saying, okay, there's a way to game it or work around it, again, I see them having these smaller ships that can engage the enemy, that will help and assist the Inferno and Ion when you're talking about smaller ships involved. whereas the Inferno and Ion can take on capital ships, where the Ion will punch the hole through the shield, and then the Inferno will finish it with the ballistics, which shred it. But then you're talking about the instances of these larger ships, what it's pertaining to with the Inferno and Ion. You're going to have also smaller ships that are going to populate in that, and along with those other ships. So, yeah, I see Crusader also introducing smaller ships that can engage with these other combat ships, single-seaters as well, to make sure that the peace is maintained in Crusader, at Crusader. Because it's going to be a lot of people going in and out of those. You got the exotic gardens that people visit. The fact that you have manufacturer, it's the first manufacturer that we're going to see around a planet location, right? So, yeah, I see them having all means to protect that area because of this value.
Okay. Sure.
Now, I'm sorry, if I can add one more thing.
Sure.
What Kimmy is saying.
Sure.
The Ion is a small size ship, and the Inferno is a medium sized ship. And to add on that, if that Inferno with that ballistics, what is it, size 7?
Mm-hmm.
If they get a hold of you with a small ship,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're dust.
no choice. You'll probably see your engine fly off before you even get a shot. So, I mean, that's the good thing about the Inferno. I'm sorry, Shiver.
I don't feel a thing.
They won't even know it hit you, huh? Shiver, this is just a real easy question for you. Are you a more transport C2 kind of guy? Or any of the variants? I'll even take it to the M2, which is like the military, it has more defensive capabilities. Or are you more toward the Ion and the Ion and the Inferno? Are you more toward that direction when it comes to Crusader ships?
Ion and Inferno.
Really?
Definitely.
Oh
combat.
my God.
Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there'll be days when I'm just can't be bothered, and I'll be chilling. I'll be like, put on some music and just do some transport for instant, easy money. But I love the stress of combat, the journey of combat. It's not about winning or losing. It's about enjoying yourself.
Okay. I like that answer.
Sure.
All right. I tell you what. Let's get rid of one of these nomads. How about that? We've got some folks who've all chimed in, guys. Exclamation nomad. We're gonna do this in about 10 seconds. I know most of you all have been sitting here waiting, so this is going to be our first giveaway for the night for a nice nomad with LTI. Is it LTI? Yeah, if it's Warbond, it's LTI, right? So it'll be Warbond. All right, let's go ahead and who's that? Overcast. Thank you for the follow. We appreciate it. All right.
Thanks, Overcast.
Here we go. And 3, 2, and 1. And let's see who we get here. Shipwreck.
Shipwreck.
07. Shipwreck.
Nice.
07. Shipwreck, are you there? Drop us a little message in chat and let us know if you are here. Shipwreck, congratulations on winning a nomad. And let's see if Shipwreck here. Hopefully Shipwreck didn't fall asleep. I don't know if Shipwreck's here. Did anybody see him?
Shipwreck.
Come on, Shipwreck. We got to see you be here. Come on. Everybody's telling Shipwreck congratulations.
If Shipwreck doesn't get this, it will be an injustice of Titanic proportions.
Of Titanic proportions.
God. Oh, God.
Is he in chat?
Hurry up, Shipwreck, because we have to keep hearing those jokes from Shiver. There he is. There Shipwreck is.
Oh, my gosh. Wake up, son. Wake up.
Yo, all right.
Get yourself a paint job, Shipwreck, for that potential flub there.
Shipwreck, thank you. Congratulations, rather, I should say. Shipwreck, be sure to send us a message.
Oh my God.
It's about to be synonymous.
Yeah.
Did it give you a sinking feeling?
Yeah. Send us a message, Shipwreck. You can either send it directly to us at soulcitizens@gmail.com, or you can send it directly to us in the Twitch chat, and we will get that ship out to you ASAP. Not the next hour, but you'll get it within really quick.
His nickname almost became Davy Jones.
All right. Let's move on to our next manufacturer. For those of you who have the pirate in you, we are going to do another giveaway, guys. We got a couple more giveaways tonight, so stick around, okay? Boom. Boy, oh boy. A lot of conversation about this ship with
Ooh-wee.
me and my friends recently. The Drake Corsair. Kimmy, let me start with you on this one. Drake, you know, there seem to be pushing away from this whole reputation of piracy. In fact, I heard very little of it this year. Last year there was a little bit of rebellion. Or was that Invictus rather? Was that they had they had their own little area. Was that at Invictus or was that last year at the IAE?
That was at well, that's a good question. Was that an Invictus?
Everything's kind of a blur now. I can't remember. Was that who remembers last year when it was Invictus? Thanks, gang. Okay, yeah, they said Invictus. Okay, so at Invictus, they had to be off to the side. They had their own little area there at R-Corp because they couldn't be with everybody else, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like they've kind of made their way back in, and this is one of those ships that a lot of people got excited about. In fact, a lot of people melted their Connies to go with this ship.
Oh yeah.
So, any thoughts about this particular ship, Kimmy? It's got the asymmetrical weird design, the wings. Is it a good trade? Is it a matter of it's got a little more firepower, supposedly? Give me your thoughts on this Corsair.
Well, here's I remember it just like yesterday when it was first introduced, and here's my impressions of it. And I looked at it and I said, oh, SIG is doing something cool with the asymmetrics. And I looked further and said, it doesn't mean anything. There's no functionality to it. So that was a little letdown for me. And then looking at the lore of it, and it was more of I would say this is a ship when you're talking about, if I had to relate it to something, Shiver can relate with this. When you think about Lex Luthor, what is he about? He hates xenomorphs. So basically, this to me was like exploration, but kill the damn aliens.
Okay.
They're trouble. We're going to explore. We're going to stomp the mud holes in this planet. We're going to make it ours, but kill the damn aliens because they're trouble.
Okay.
So it's like alien exploration with guns.
Okay. And Kelosal, correct me if I'm wrong. You made a distinction of exploration versus expedition, if I'm remembering correctly. I know you were vacillating back and forth about this ship, and we had conversations about it this week. What are your thoughts about the Corsair?
I mean that we had, some very good friends that we were. I was interested in the Corsair, and at one point I thought the Corsair was the same as another favorite of mine, which was the Carrack. And so I tried to go ahead and try to come up with any explanations on, what was going on with that, and try to learn of the ship. Found out that the Corsair is an exploration and the Carrack is an expedition/exploration. So obviously we know the difference between the two. One gets to stay out in space a little bit longer. The other one just goes in and comes back. So as I looked at what was going on between the two, there's some major differences. If you are one of those people who just want to explore and come on back and dock, and hang out in planets and space stations, then this ship is for you. I mean, 6 guns at your disposal, all remote. We're not talking about the side 2 turrets. We're just talking about the ones that are pointing forward, right? I mean, she's a powerful ship, but like all Drakes, you get a hold of that armor. I don't know how long she's going to last. And she is a Drake. And once, I'll say this about Drakes: you get on a Drake, you die on a Drake. You're not coming off. She doesn't have any, escape pods. So I mean, this is a great ship if you want to go ahead and explore, and it's definitely a great ship if you want to, if you want to get rid of some people that are in your way of exploration. 72 cargo. You can carry a rover, I believe, inside. A couple of crew quarters can sleep. Which basically, that's why I was like, is she an exploration or is she an expedition? Which one? But I mean, for what she has, she's fantastic. Difference is, I believe she's a medium-sized ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what knocked me off in terms of purchasing. Well, she's a large-sized ship, but if you look at the specs,
medium components,
the specs of her are all medium
components, right? Yeah.
all medium components.
Yep.
So that kind of knocked me off a little bit in terms of what she could possibly do compared to the ships that I already had, like the Carrack. Once again, two completely different type spec ships, because one could last out there, stay out there, and the other one has to obviously come back. But that was something that basically said, hey, if you're this type of person where you like to go ahead and explore and don't like any types of obstacles in your way, go ahead and get yourself a Corsair. Good ship.
Thank you, Jod. We saw that. Thank you. Thanks for helping us in the direction there. Shiver, any thoughts about the Corsair? Drake stepping into this outside of the piracy looking thing, but now they're talking about exploration. What do you think about that?
I think Kemi and Kelosal summed it up perfectly. It's the ship you say you use to. It's the ship you use to say we come in peace, but we shoot to kill.
Okay. Enough said.
That's it. So I got it's. Yeah.
Apex Predators.
If you haven't got a large amount of people that you're going to play with, and you know you're going to be running into trouble, use the Corsair. You can go out into the middle of nowhere. Still got to go back, obviously, to refuel, resupply, but it's for you and 3 or 4 friends. If you can't run a Carrack.
That's something that is a way to look at it. If you don't want to, if you can't run a Carrack, right? A Carrack, we're talking about operating costs and everything else. This might be the alternative.
Yeah.
If you, as Colossal said, if you're not planning on hanging out and staying out in deep space, this might be that option. Once again, the image that's on the screen right now, that this whole symmetrical asymmetrical wing thing. Do you think that this will have any issue when based upon what CIG has told us, our ships are supposed to be responding to atmosphere. This is great in space. Is this going to be an issue when it comes to flying in atmosphere, or will computers compensate for it and it'll be fly-by-wire and it's no big deal? Because we do know that some ships, depending on their surface area, certain ships handle differently than others. I'm wondering how something like that will do in atmosphere. Any thoughts, anybody?
I mean, she's got one wing going out,
right, 90
east
degrees.
and west. I mean, the other two are like, I don't know.
I'm just curious. Maybe I'm making a big thing out of nothing, but I just have to wonder in atmosphere with winds and everything else how that sucker. I'm not saying it can't fly. I'm just saying, is it going to be a beast in bad weather? Because the ships do respond to buffeting and everything else. So we could talk about that later. No big deal. I was just staring at the ship and wondering. All right, let's go to this one. This is the big baby. Kraken.
Release it.
Yeah, release the Kraken. Any thoughts on this particular ship? Let's start with Shiver this time. The Kraken. Is this a long way away? Shiver?
Yeah,
long way away?
That's got to be a long ways off, because it still obviously goes with the Drake style guide and things like that. But it's also it's unique and it's massive, and you can dock basically every single Drake ship that is currently out. You can dock on it. It needs a lot of work to get in there. I mean, it's not going to be something like Endeavor amount of work, probably not even Banu amount of work, because Banu they had to establish the style guide first, and that ship is going to be glorious to see. Whereas the Kraken is going to be, this is a utility vehicle. The biggest problem is going to be getting the tech to work on it, because as was pointed out earlier, just shoving a buggy in the back of your hangar and flying off is a huge risk. Imagine having a Caterpillar, Cutlass, the Buccaneer, all at the same time docked on there, and it's going to be absolute hell. And I don't think it's going to handle well in atmosphere. But it is a glorious ship.
Agreed.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Colossal. I'm sorry, my mic was muted. Go ahead.
Okay, you looking? Am I next?
Yes. Your thoughts, please.
I mean, great ship. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, she reminds me of a movable Grimhex. That's what she reminds me of. I mean, obviously waiting on iCash and everything else to come with this ship. But until they get that, then all we're going to be doing is. Sorry about that. Of course, my phone wants to listen to my voice. But until we get that, then she's a great mobile operations center. She has, just the ship alone. The ship alone has over 3,700 cargo space.
Mm.
The ship alone. Goodness gracious. The next ship closest to that is a Banu before we get to the haulers. Just like Shiver said, she can carry almost every, if not every, known Drake ship in the game. If you see this ship coming your way, then your best bet is to steer the other way. It's unless you're coming with a couple of Idrises. Your best bet is to steer the other way because she's going to come fully gunned and fully prepared with multiple ships coming your way. So, the excitement of this ship holding down a particular region of space, quite doable. Quite doable. Interesting concept.
Okay. Kimmy, there was a bit of a surprise when the Kraken came out. The Kraken is the second most expensive ship in the game, and it's Drake. Does it have escape pods? Yes. I don't even know if it has escape pods. But here's my question. $2,000 if you pay with credit. I think it's $1,700 cash.
At the CitizenCon 2018 when it first appeared, it was about $1,700.
Yeah. That's and only the Javelin beats it out. What do you think? Do you think it's worth the bang for the buck with all you can do with it?
Yes.
Okay.
Simple yes.
Okay.
For the fact that you're going to live on this ship. You don't need a homestead. You don't need hangars. That is your hangar. That's a moving hangar. Again, you deploy ships. You have business transactions all in this environment. It's now where you reside. It's your moving fortress. So yes, it's worth it in that aspect of being able to do everything in this one instance of that ship, along with your crew as well.
Okay.
You're gonna live on it, and you're gonna die on it. It's a Drake ship.
Yes. But if whoever takes it out, you got to give them credit because this ship is going to be armed to the teeth without a doubt. Even when we saw that they did the commercial of it, and this thing is just. It's gonna. Whoever beats this ship out in a battle, they deserve credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those types of ships that if you're, military style gameplay, always on the edge, adrenaline pumping, PvPing, and you're overseeing these large battles take place. This is your ship.
Okay. Well, I will tell you, I appreciate, who was it who had the comment here? Someone said it was coffee. Drake escape pod equals jump the heck off. I love that. I love that. That is definitely it.
Yes.
Definitely it. All right, we're going to speed up our time a little bit here. Guys, we're going to start our next... go ahead, Shiver.
When I saw it on the holotable, I thought the holotable was broken because it had a crack in it.
Oh, okay, we're gonna start our next giveaway.
The front or the end?
We're gonna start our next giveaway. Yeah. I thought that Fast Cart wasn't here, but evidently he has channeled himself. He has channeled himself into this show. So, yeah. We're gonna go ahead and let me get this set up again. That one. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't, to be honest with you.
And another thing, the JR Fab people during CitizenCon 2018, they did a model that you actually walked around that thing. You had the Cuddy Black sitting on it on the deck. The what is that? The Buccaneer was sitting on that thing. It was amazing. I have video footage of that.
It was
beautiful.
They did
the mock up, the model scaled.
All right, guys, exclamation point Nomad if you want to get in for this next giveaway for a Nomad LTI from IAE. So definitely hit us up real quick. We're going to do that in just a couple of seconds. We're going to go to our next manufacturer. When we get through with that manufacturer, we will go on to the next thingy. Oh no, we have one more ship to cover here, I think. Let me take a look here. Oh yes, we do. We have another ship. I wasn't thinking. Hang on a
Drake.
second. Yes, we have this ship right about here. Yes, it'll be popping up any second for you guys.
Oh yes.
This becomes the discussion. I think this kind of lends back to something Kimmy said earlier about the importance of why iCache has got to come in. And when it comes to this ship, this is the Vulture made by Drake. It is single person what do we call it? Not scavenging.
Salvage.
Salvage. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. I knew it begins with an S. Kimmy, any thoughts about this particular ship? I know you talked about it a little bit with the iCache, the importance of that being a part before we even get into pulling parts and stuff. But what do you think about this as a one-man operation or one-woman operation?
Give down, and it's about the inner exploration, the inner exploration of things that we've discarded, right? Going to these floating space graveyards that exist. Again, that's another thing that we'll need iCache for. But these existing graveyards of space hulks that are dead, forgotten, and you literally navigate through these things, and you're scrounging through these areas, and you're finding scraps of things, and you're using your instrument panel to determine what's good, what percentage of that material is it worth salvaging, and you do that, and then it's basically virtual recycling. Recycling comes to Star Citizen in that aspect, but then there's so many layers of discovering things that you shouldn't find out, or you're maybe an apex predator is amongst you while you're in there finding things out. But the fact that we can actually take the physical items now and recycle them into good materials that can be used elsewhere, like your crucibles or your Vulcans, or sold again to the refinery and broken down. So you see a cycle or a circle of life to the economic system within Cloud Imperium Games or Star Citizen.
Okay, cool.
And it just you matter now. You're a part of this process of the economics of the game.
Good. Alrighty. Shiver, Junkman. I feel like this is not something that you'll be doing. I feel like this is not your forte because you ain't towing nothing. So I'm assuming that you are not salvaging anything. Is it a practical career though? I mean, is this salvage thing, like Kimmy says, it's part of the whole cycle of the game? Does this become a part of the economic cycle, being able to run an operation like that?
I mean, it's going to be. It could well be for people who PvP, even probably PvE, because if you want 100% or at least close to 100% of your potential profits, you go in there, you wipe out these things, and then you've got your contingent of people in vultures who are going to swoop in, pick up the crap, sell it, or turn it into something more that you can even recycle yourself. Because if you're going to be, no pun intended, have a nomadic life of your own, roaming around shooting and killing, you're going to need to create your own supplies. The vulture could well be one of the most essential things that you can get, because salvage might not just be about getting sheets of metal, recycling them. It could well be, I found this fuel tank in it and I siphon off the fuel and put it in mine. Things like that. It's got a lot of potential to it. It just really depends on how far CIG want to take it, and we know how crazy CIG are with their mechanics.
Okay. Kelosal. Will this ship be a good ship to accompany a ship like the Crucible? The SRV, for example, we were talking about that earlier. Originally, the Crucible was supposed to have like a tow truck kind of thing with it, but I think they dismissed that now. So is this something that a Crucible person would want to also have in their, their fleet? Because you talked about all the resources that are still going to be needed to rebuild and repair somebody's ship.
Not if you're sitting with 12 SCU of cargo. That's what the ship has. So, I mean, it's a great ship, but the Nomad gives you 24, and the Vulture's giving you 12. Come on, Siatra. You got to increase that just a little bit. Give me 20, and I'll be fine with this as a starter ship. I mean, you're basically churning junk, okay? And you got 12 SEU of cargo to play with. So, I mean, if you can give me a little bit more than that, then I can sit there and say, yeah, this is. I mean, it's a good ship, but I would increase that cargo space to at least 20, at least 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
No, that's a very, very good point. Okay. All right. If you guys are ready, we're going to do another giveaway. So, exclamation point Nomad. Exclamation point Nomad. If you are interested in getting a Nomad with LTI. So, here we go. Let's see if I got everybody in here. I do have everybody in. All right. Oh, by the way, if you're a subscriber, you get a 2-to-1 ratio. So I didn't mention that earlier. So if you subscribe, 2-to-1 ratio that you could win. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and kaboom. Oh, we have to disqualify that person. How dare he put in? No, we're just kidding.
Who's this?
It is our guest.
I didn't even put that in. How did that happen?
Well, you didn't put it in. If you didn't put it in, maybe it just detected
I was
something.
thinking of putting in yes insanity, but how did what?
Well, we'll leave it up to you. If you would like to win it, you did. Yes, you did. You've won from us before. If you want it, you're welcome to it. If you want to put it back in, whichever one you want, because you didn't enter. Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, fair enough, gang. All right, so we're gonna spin one more time here, gang. Stand by. All right, exclamation point. All right, and Nomad 3, 2, and by the way, thank you, Shiver. 3, 2, 1, boom. Mad Style 1911. Mad Style, are you in the house? Mad Style. Congrats if you are in the house. There, whoa, boom, right there. Woot. You are the winner, Mad Style, of a Nomad with LTI. Please send us a message either through Twitch Messenger to Soul Citizens, or you can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com. Don't forget, if you're a winner, to include your RSI, email, and address and name. Make sure you send us that. That's how we get your prizes to you. And we're going to give away one more Nomad, gang, so stick around. We're winding down here as we're chopping through all of these different ships. All right, so we finished off Drake. Let's see who was next. The Big E, Esperia. Boy, there's a lot of anticipation on these ships coming up.
Right.
The month of December. These ships look very similar, so you may not see any differences between the slides. But we're talking about the Talon and the Talon Strike. One is a fighter. One is more of a bomber strike ship, I guess you would say. Let me start off with Kimmy. Kimmy, do you own either of these?
I do not. PvP, it's cool, but no, I kind of passed on this, but it doesn't. Once it's flyable, that may change, right?
Mm-hmm.
But beautiful ship, though. Beautiful ship, but
okay.
It's going to be interesting how it flies, and then you have this unique thing about that the Esperia fighter ship is the escape pod. Unlike Drake, it's a top of the line escape pod that the entire cockpit is catapulted away from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting gameplay, and it's another one of the things that we're looking at as far as xenomorphing the game or adding aliens to the universe, and to see the alien ships become a part of the verse is very interesting as well.
Okay, good points. Shiver, I look at this ship like I look at the what's that ship called? The Drake. What's the Buccaneer, right? I always see these ships as not necessarily being all that great by themselves, but if you had 8 or 12 of these things coming in on you, like Hornets, they become a real pest. Do you think that's the strength of a ship like this? Is that is a single person ship, but man, if you put a bunch of them together, you got to watch out.
It's a swarm of Hornets, isn't it, to take down the line?
Mm-hmm.
It's relatively cheap. It's got enough firepower in it to en masse dent something, take it out, and again with en masse, there's just so much firepower being thrown at you. You don't know which one to target, and by the time you've worked out which one to go for, or if you could even have enough time to take out enough of any significance, they've already done a significant amount of damage to you, so you haven't got much of a defense. It's using a fleet of auroras to blot out the sun kind of tactic. It's a good idea. And I also like the way that the whole design aesthetic, using birds, it's a bit cheesy, I know, but it always reminds me of the Klingon Burrell Bird of Praise.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a real good point. Yeah. Kelosal, talk a little bit about the advance of what's so special about this with its shields when combined with other ships.
Well, I have both of these ships, both the Talon, both the regular one and the Strike, and it's, I love some of the things that CIG says about the ship. It says basically the Strike is basically an equivalency to the Gladius and the Vandal Blade. Take that for note. Okay. The other thing is that I love the most about these ships, that I often hear too little of, is their phalanx shields. Okay, and if you can't envision a phalanx shield, envision it as if you've seen what is it, Star-Lord? I believe the guy that claims himself he's Star-Lord or whatever his name is. And you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, right? And you've seen all these little itty bitty ships came up there and they all formed a system. Okay.
The Nova Corps.
Right. The Nova Corps to try to stop that big old huge ship from coming in. Well, that's how I see with the phalanx shield. Okay. Now, in most cases, dealing with these Talons, they're supposed to be used for escape. Okay, this will be used for escape. So if you have multiple Talons out there and they're able to use their phalanx shield, and let's say Star Citizen decides to go ahead and make them link, I mean, you could guide in a Idris. Okay, you could guide in a Hammerhead if they have that type of idea going on. But it's interesting to note that they have these types of phalanx shields and Taveran armor and Taveran components that we don't even know about yet in terms of what their usage is going to be. So I think their phalanx shield is something that is of note to try to understand what CIG is trying to do with their phalanx shields.
Mad Style, thank you so much for 5 gift subs. Thank you, Mad Style. That is so awesome. We got 5 folks getting some gifts out there, so that's awesome. Thank you, Mad Style. Y'all got to listen to James Brown 2 more times. Don't worry.
First concept of the experience.
Hang on one second. Hang on, Kimmy. Wait till these.
Photon energy.
Yeah, wait till James Brown's done. We got one more. Okay.
Scuba Steve.
All right.
What up, fool?
Those are the 5 gift subs that came through. So everybody, thank you for that, Mad Style, for passing those out to everybody. We appreciate it. Yeah. Did everybody get to talk about the ship? I think everybody did, right? Did I miss anybody?
I think Shiver. Did you mention it?
Everybody did? Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to...
Bird of Prey.
Yep, there you go. That's right. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to our next one, which is the old standby here. Our good friend, one of our good friends, loves this particular manufacturer. But MISC. Okay, what can we say about MISC that hasn't been said already, right? MISC
cargo units.
The cargo. Yes, we were just talking about this. This is the Hull A. Yes. I didn't expect to see the Hull A. I did expect to see the Hull C. We had talked about that in previous weeks that we expected to see something in relation to the Hull C. But lo and behold, MISC decided to break out and show us the Hull A. Question. Is this a ship? I'll start with Shiver this time on this one. There's so many cargo ships, Shiver, like a lot of cargo ships out there. Is this going to be a ship that people are just going to overlook and maybe jump to something that has a little bit more room? The benefit of the ship is that it does go from, you can go down to surfaces with it, right? But will this be people who just kind of specialize in cargo? And we've always defined cargo versus trade, right? If I'm doing cargo in most parts, I'm carrying somebody else's stuff. When I'm doing trade, I'm carrying my stuff, right? So is this kind of one of those ships that people who are into cargo will hey, I got a whole A, B, C, D, E, and I mean the whole alphabet? Or will people just kind of let a ship like this go by and maybe go with a freelancer, and that does the job for them?
I mean, it's got the advantage of the size of it being easy to transport. They've probably got to put some more differences on it. Why would you use this over a freelancer? Even if you were had a ship that was stupidly huge that you can't land on atmosphere, you want someone to take your stuff down so you can sell it on there. Do the paper, scissors, stone to decide who's going to do the transport and all that sort of thing. Again, why would you just use the hull over the freelancer just even for that job? I suppose the only thing it would have, they could potentially easily throw at it to give you priority to something like the hull A over a freelancer would be making it a lot cheaper to operate, even if it's going. Yep. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to cut into your profit margins with fuel. The freelancer is going to cost probably a lot more to just operate, even going orbit down, than the hull A. And I think when they envisioned the whole series, they said, your hull A is going to be the thing that you use to take from orbit to wherever, or orbit to space station. The hull E is going to be the thing that just swoops in and has got all these ships and is going to be slowly picked off by different cargo ships. So as long as they keep the operating costs down, it's got its little niche, because why would you use a freelancer if it's going to cost you 3 times as much to take your cargo down? Because profit margins, all about the profit when you're trading or doing cargo runs. That's the most important thing.
Okay. Kimmy, question for you. This ship, according to the website, its cargo capacity is 48 SCU, which is about half of an Andromeda, right? I think an Andromeda is around 96 for a Connie. Do you think CIG is going to stay at that number? Because these cargo containers look pretty big. The ones we've seen on the cargo decks and the ones that we saw in these holograms. I mean, they've always said these numbers, they could always change. Do you think to make these ships more viable that they may actually make it so that when you have a hull ship, it's carrying a decent amount? Because to be at 46, half of a Connie, why not put it in a freelancer, right? Like Shiver said. Do you think there's a possibility that those numbers may change?
I believe so. It makes sense that they would do that, because when you look at the crux of the economy, this is the main feeder of that economy, and moving about these cargo units in such a way that this is unlike like the Vulcan ship. You have other ships that have multi-purposes. Sometimes. Dedicated. Yes, SIG will dedicate one purpose for a particular ship, and it's really your go-to. But when you're talking about the economy, and then these numbers of player counts potentially going up, really going up, and then now you're talking about, I want to use the analogy of the ocean, and you have the sharks or the predators swimming about, and then there's you ever see on these documentaries these school of tiny fish, and it's like so many of them going back and forth or going on this path. It's kind of like that when we're talking about the MISC being that kind of backbone to the economy, having those, which Sig mentioned, those trade lanes, or the cargo lanes. And so I think it would be opportunistic for outside of NPCs, for actual people to implant their ships in that school of fish, to hide amongst those large numbers, to move your cargo around, as opposed to being that one, like you said, a Connie being hunted down, because pirates will know, hey, we looked at the background, this is more cargo units, and you're out there by yourself floundering around. So there's safety in numbers in that sense. And when we're talking about NPCs being part of this concept too, they're going to be flying these ships as well. Okay. But then you can hide yourself amongst these NPCs in these large volumes of these trading lanes.
Good point. Kelosal, price point. I think the hull A runs around $40 or $60, something like that. That's half the price of a freelancer, right? And then the next jump to that is a hull B, which runs at $90. Is that make these ships more reasonable, instead of me having to start at $120 or $140 for a hull max, or $150, that I can kind of come into this whole cargo thing $50, $90, and in fact, a whole B carries more than a Connie does. Not a Connie, yeah, more than a Connie does. A whole B does. Is that going to be the plus for going with a whole series ship?
Yeah, for a starter. I
Okay.
mean, definitely. I mean, just like Shiver said, it's all about operational cost. I mean, I just think that if you just if you first came in a game and you needed a ship and you had a couple of UAC or even if you had some in-game money, then the whole A and the whole B would probably be your most affordable in terms of what you need to do. Now, if you're willing to go ahead and scrounge around and do a little bit more, then obviously you'll jump over to the freelancer. But I mean, these ships are in the game for a reason. They're in the game for a reason, and these may not be the set cargo capacity. I mean, I've heard from some that the hull A could go as high as 75. So I mean, a good buy. I mean, not for my taste. But if you were, I mean, 300, and 84 capacity for a whole B is quite nice. So, I mean, you can pick your passion on that.
Okay, good point. All right, let me jump to this ship here. All right, forgive me for jumping around here a little bit.
Holy smokes!
The Hull C. That was the other ship that we saw this weekend. Now, again, using the old numbers from the website and the possibility these numbers could change, where a Hull A had 48 SCU, a Hull C has 4,608 SCU. Shiver, I'm gonna bounce this one to you. The Hull C is supposed to be the most used workhorse ship in the universe, according to CIG. NPCs are gonna, if there's a, kind of, I look at the Hull ships as being just like seeing semis on the highway, right? The semi trucks, big lorries on the expressway. You just constantly see these things going back and forth. And like Kimmy said, quite often more NPCs than maybe regular players when we see them. But that's a lot of hauling. 4,000 SCU. Where does this kind of start to fall off from moving where you've got an individual person operating these ships to now these ships are for orgs? From a hull A to a hull E. Is the C still that ship that you can kind of manage as a single person and I'm making money? Or is this just too big? I mean, once you get to C, have we moved to the point where you've got to be an org or working with multiple people to make it worth taking this ship out?
I think you could probably do it on your own. I think the Hull C is just on that limit where you could, if you had enough time and were dedicated enough, and it would obviously be the maximum amount of profit that you could get. And the analogy there is it is like the freight train. It's not the full stupidly huge tanker size, which would be the Hull E. This is taking something and you're still going to make a huge profit with this. But I'd also see, you've got your group of friends, probably, again, 1 to 5 people can operate this, and you've got your group of friends this running, and you're still going to be making enough profit to make it worthwhile. And then you can start to think to yourself, well, should I expand my business? Should I keep going with this? Where should I go with there? I don't think it's going to be something that someone sticks with, because it's still in that little niche where it's like, well, I'm making money, but what do I do with my money now that I've got the money? How do I expand from this?
Good point.
Good point. Kelosal, throw this at you. The Hull E went up for sale and was flying out the window. The Hull E is like $600, something like that. It ain't cheap.
Yeah.
It ain't cheap. What made that so popular that people would? I mean, as much as we hear about people seeing hulls as being moving targets, right? I mean, that's all you ever hear people talk about is, oh man, people are going to be blowing these things up left and right. They're just moving targets. They got bullseyes on them. Why are people spending that type of money on a ship that carries? And I'll have to look up the full SCU on that. Let's see.
98,304.
At least 98,000 SCU. What's the big rush for that?
Either they were like kids and they saw something in the window and they were like, "Ooh, I gotta have those sparkling, glowing eyes," and they just spent, not realizing what they're getting into, because that's just like my friend always says. That's a lot of logistics that has
Yeah.
to be put into that type of a ship. You got to hire a crew. You got to hire people to go ahead and help you protect. See, I mean, versus the whole C versus the whole E. The whole C is projected to be the most used ship, or most recognized, most used ship in the verse. So at least if you're driving around in the whole C, you might not get popped because there's so many whole C's out there in the verse.
Right.
Well, if you drive around the whole E, I mean, you just basically said red flag. Here I am, and if you're spending the money on this ship, then you are obviously a part of an org who all they do is trade. All they do is trade. And there are some orgs out there that will just take your stuff and just go ahead and haul it for you. Remember, a lot of these cargoes are modular as well. So not every cargo is going to be standard. You can some of them may be hauling vehicles. Some of them may be hauling motorbikes. Some of them may be hauling land vehicles. Some of them may be hauling parts for a Pioneer. So these are modular units that that you have in these cargoes. So obviously these whoever's picking these up, I would hope and pray that they are a part of org that all they do is specialize in moving stuff around.
Okay.
Cool Turtle.
Cool Turtle. Thank you for the follow. Kimmy, Kelosal just touched on something. A lot of people don't know that the whole series ships do more than just carry cargo boxes. Some of them can actually be set up as weapons points, weapon stations. There's all types of modularity that they've tied into these ships. Do you think that people just see these ships as just for, doing nothing but hauling freight? And they're missing out on the potential of other things that this ship can do because they don't know that you can have other attachments and other things that go on the whole ships?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think the realized gameplay is cargo. And I think as we see the layers of the onion being peeled back, then it's going to open up those doors to those other possibilities, especially with knowing that when you're hauling this, as Kelosal mentioned, as you're hauling this around and that type of ship, you're gonna find ways, and you're gonna look into ways to make sure or ensure that cargo goes from point A to point B. So as things unveil itself even further, people are gonna really start dialing in and try to figure out how to maintain that bottom line without it being interrupted with, as far as the number or count of or amount of cargo that you're hauling with this particular ship. So if it opens the door for all these possibilities, people are going to, trust me, the community is dialed in on this. And again, with the cargo units as they are on the ship matrix, and with the refactor of what now we see with these whole series now, with the cargo units changing in concept from the first animation we saw years ago, expect those cargo units to change dramatically and to be larger, because it's holding these 4 giant cargo units. Now, what does that mean granularly or individually? It's a large number, but because of the tech involved, they have 4 big units. So it doesn't translate to an actual with the ship matrix, which hasn't been touched in years. So expect those cargo units to go way up.
Good point. That's a real good point. Well, Dark Knight says that he'll be hauling Picos, and I think Coffee said he'll be hauling Duckies. He said, don't get mad at him. He said he's going to be pushing Duckies. So that's I guess that's it for them. That's as far as they want to take stuff out. Okay, so that's our mystery.
Griff, can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure.
One more thing, in addition to what Kimmy said, if you want to really get a look at what the cargoes may look like, you might want to go to those big, huge orbital stations above ArcCorp and above Hurston and above Microtech, and go to the cargo area, and you'll get a good idea of what you may be able to see in the next several months.
Good point. Gladestone, I didn't ignore you. I didn't see you. But if you're hauling 96,000 SCU of drugs, you have issues. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that.
What are you talking about?
If you carry 96,000, no, dude. No.
Pure businessman.
You put that stuff in the MSR. If you carry 96,000 SCU of drugs, you got some issues going on as far as I'm concerned. So, okay.
Priorities are screwed up, but he's a businessman.
Okay, I'm just teasing, Glade. Have at it, brother. If you could make it. Matter of fact, you should have said that because now people are gonna be looking for you because they know what you're gonna be hauling. So, all right.
Got the good stuff.
All right, let's go to the day that all of us wanted to honor and represent. Of course, if there's no better day at an IAE, it's got to be Origin Day, right? So let's talk about that for a minute.
Do we have to?
Listen, I was so mad. I'm going to have to give info runners a real hard time because Execute had the nerve to say he didn't want to get out of bed because it was Origin Day, but I'm going to leave that alone, okay? Listen, Origin didn't show any ships, but what they did show was the G12. I just basically ask each one of you the real quick question because I want to speed up our time, and we're going to start our next giveaway.
No problem.
Just yes or no, do you own one Kelosal G12? Any of the G12s?
Yes.
Okay, which one? Do you know specifically?
Set us up, man.
Which one specifically?
The regular G12.
The regular?
White.
Okay, the
White
white
one.
one. Okay.
Turret.
All right, Kimmy, you own one?
You know this, man. You
No,
set us up.
no. I don't know if you own it. I don't know if you own this one or
I
not.
own the G12.
Your G12?
Black.
Oh,
G12
the black
yes.
is slick. The black is slick with the rockets. That's slick. Okay, Shiver, do you own
Yes.
one?
I don't.
Okay.
I love the ships, but I didn't like that G12.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and for myself, I own one. I think the thing that got me, other than you guys know I'm an Origin person, but that wasn't really it. I have had issue in relation to the Tumbrils because they have the open cockpit, and that in bad weather means that you've got to be in a suit. Where with the Origin, you don't have to worry about that. That was the one plus for this one. I mean, I love the design and stuff, and I still have a Tumbril. Don't get me wrong, and it's nice to know that in that Tumbril you can jump right out. But if I'm in bad weather, I do worry about it. Yeah, Kimmy, go ahead.
To your point,
Mhm.
I had to get rid of those Tumbrils because of the next patch. They're going to introduce target zeroing.
Yeah.
Ain't no way in the world I'm going to
yeah.
be sitting in a vehicle with a canopy open and I'm being targeted zeroed on and fired from a long distance of several hundred feet away. No, Tumbrils went bye-bye.
Interesting perspective. A lot of folks haven't probably given that consideration, Kimmy. That might make some folks go do some melting before December 2nd.
I have to give my friend Fullback and Kimmy a shout out on that one because Fullback was all in my ear with that. Nope, not gonna be shot. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, all right.
So,
point.
You're
Well,
driving. I got a passenger and I get shot. I'm driving. I get shot and we go off the cliff and they're wondering, "What the hell did you do, man?" They say, "I don't know.
Good point.
I didn't see it coming."
Well, let's talk about that company, Tumbril. I did not expect to see the bike. I did not expect to see that. That was a bit of a surprise for me. What really surprised me about the bike was the size of the bike. That thing is big. Now, I know that the hologram looks big, but if you look at it, look at the size of the seat on it, and look at the rest of the bike, I kind of thought this was going to be kind of motorcycle-ish. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Does that seem like it's a little oversized to you, or does that seem proportionate to a regular motorcycle to you guys?
Two-wheel vehicle.
It's a two-wheel vehicle, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the dynamics of it because the wheels mirror that are on the Tumbril four-wheelers. I'm just saying it looks big to me. And am I wrong in saying that? I mean, does it, or is it just a big version of it up there? What does it look like to you guys? It almost looks chopperish.
Big version.
Yeah, it just looks chopperish almost to me
Got
to a
some
certain
heft.
degree.
Yeah, it's got some heft to it.
Yeah, because if you look at the detail page and the people writing it, then you wouldn't get that type of distorted view. This is just a perception.
Okay,
right here.
I hope you're right because Chad is saying.
Start looking at
yeah, chat's saying big off-roader, big touring thing, big Harley. I hear what you're saying. That's my comparison, Kelosal. When I look at what's on the site, it looks more reasonable in size. But if this thing is going to take on terrain and stuff, I'm looking at the wheels, look at the struts and how that thing is designed in its framework. It looks big. But you might be right. It might be just a matter of they blew it up a little bit in the hologram so we can see it in greater detail, too. You might be absolutely right about it.
Yeah. I'm looking at the other pictures on the detail page, and it looks perfectly normal.
About a regular size to a human.
Size.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Details.
All right, well, that was all that they had for us from Tumbril.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go
It
ahead.
might be too much of a British reference, and I can't remember the name of the bike, but it really reminded me of Judge Dredd's bike. And I love it.
Ah, good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Love letter
yeah,
to Judge Dredd. Yes.
Yeah, it
Good
does.
point.
Now that you mentioned that. Yeah. Oh boy.
Used to be
Interesting.
local to me.
Well,
Oh,
what is the Batman cycle? You remember that one
oh,
too?
the Bat Cycle. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Tumbler, not was it
The
called the
Tumbler.
Tumbler?
Well, no, the car was called the Tumbler. That's probably what you're thinking about. Was the car was the Tumbler? But no, the design like that is kind of like it's got that forward
see.
that the I forget what you call those that are tied to the wheels. It does remind you of like the Batman cycle the way that is. Okay. All right, so that was it from Tumbrel. We're almost done, gang. Today, yesterday was our final day, and that was going into Robert Space Industries, which is the day that everybody was kind of looking forward to. Was going into RSI, and as you guys know, RSI opened up with a ship that a lot of people have been waiting on. Actually, a couple ships that people have been waiting on, but this one is the Pioneer, if I'm not mistaken. $750 cash, $850 now, I think, credit. This is a Corvette, is that correct, guys? Is it considered a Corvette?
The Perseus.
I thought it was a frigate.
Is that the Perseus we're looking at right now?
Perseus, or was that the?
No. I'm talking about
what
what are we looking at right now?
This is the Polaris, I believe.
The Polaris.
That's the Polaris.
Yeah, the Polaris.
Right?
Yeah, the Polaris. Right, the Polaris is a.
That's a Corvette.
It's a Corvette, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So $750, $850, I think, credit on this one. This came out back in 2016, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
2016. A lot of
This thing
people
is fast for its size.
A lot of people have been wanting this ship. It has a hangar. It has one of the biggest noticeable points on it is the torpedoes. If I'm not mistaken, is it 24? It's a lot. Anybody remember what the count is on it? There's a lot of torpedoes in this, and I think that they're size 12s, if I'm not mistaken. And chat, please correct me if I'm wrong about that. But they're expensive torpedoes too. And when you launch them, make sure you have your bank account ready because it will not be cheap to fire torpedoes from this ship. Let me start with you, Kimmy, in relation to moving into a Corvette class. I think that the Hammerhead is that next level ship that we kind of get to before we start getting into a size of a Polaris. Do you think when it comes to well, I guess my question in relation to the Polaris is we're starting to get into ships now where you got to have manned crews, right? You can get into a Hammerhead with 6, 7, 8 people, get away with murder. But now we get into the Polaris. We get into bigger ships. Do you think that this is going? I mean, do you think because you need more people on them, it's going to be a while before we see a ship like this come in the game with caps of 50 people on a server? Do we have to wait until we get into at least 100 or 200 people before it makes sense to start bringing in these ships that you need multiple people just to pull them out of the dock?
Well, I'll say to this that the groundwork is already started. We've seen the groundwork done with the Idris and what they're doing with that ship. Mm-hmm. With that said, the foundational tech is going to come to the forefront of making this possible for these types of ships. Mm-hmm. Now, when we're talking on the veiled side of the Cloud Imperium Games, Squadron 42, this may be further along, much further than what we're mm-hmm. thinking of right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's the matter of, in that instance, they have the design in, they have all the assets in, but then as we get the foundational tech for the persistent universe, integrating that and bringing that ship over, I think they're ahead of the game in that instance. They know what it takes to run these capital ships. At one point, it used to be this, what was it? The Starfarer would knock this whole system down mm-hmm. at one ship. Now we're talking about, we're seeing the Hammerheads. We're seeing all these, you see some of the streamers with the 890 jumps and all these large numbers of capital ships. And that's without the foundational tech, right? So again, the Polaris is one of those ships that once it's fully realized, it's going to be one of those ships that you come across, you better get the heck out of its way, leave it alone. Okay. Because the way it's built and designed, it's going to defy what atypical capital ship will do in combat. This is one of those ships. It's just it gets in, it hits you hard, it gets out, and it has a complementary ship along with it. So you don't want to when you get into this gameplay, you don't want to mess around with this person who's really skilled with this ship.
Guys, forgive me, I gave the wrong price on it. This is at $675. My apologies. $675. If you're dropping cash on it, $675.
She was limited though.
Yeah, and it was limited. In chat, thank you for the corrections on it. Size 10s. Thank you very much for the corrections on that and the size and the specs on. I'm getting my ships all mixed up now. So
and
please
standalone, it's sold out.
Yes. So
$750 standalone.
Yeah, standalone. There you go.
Community knows. Crazy.
Let's see. There was something that Kimmy said that I wanted to bounce off of. Oh, I was talking about the player cap earlier, Kelosal. Kimmy, I know it was. Kimmy mentioned about the Idrises, right? And we know that they're going to be bringing the Idris into the game, but it's going to be working as a law enforcement aspect, which means it's NPC, which means it's not people. So they can integrate that into the game right now without a problem. But again, with the Polaris, I don't know. I don't remember what the crew complement is. I know, guys, please forgive me. I'm just placed. What is the crew complement?
The crew complement on a Polaris, you're looking at 6-person mini crew, 14 overall.
Okay. So if we're talking, let's divide that into 12 people, 10 to 12 people. That means if you have 5 of these on a server, the server's full.
For now.
For now. That's what I mean. So and to your point, Kimmy, the ship may be done, right? It may be like literally done. But again, introducing it into the world. And I'm only saying this because there are always people saying, where's my Polaris? Where's the Polaris? Where's the Polaris?
Yes.
And I'm saying the practicality of bringing it into the universe just isn't there. And my question to you, Kelosal, is this. How do you deal with that when you're owner of a ship that you've been waiting on to come out and you see all these other ships constantly coming out and you've paid $675, right? But they're putting out all these other ships. I mean, is this a part of the whole development thing that you just kind of got to grin and bear it and go along with the flow until server caps reach a bigger number?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Not much you can do other than gripe if you got a platform for it. Maybe some or other platforms, that you sit there and complain about certain VTOL ships that can't VTOL, But other than that, I mean, you're just gonna have to sit there and hold your fingers tight and keep your butt cheeks together and basically say it will come when it comes.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm mentioning that because I do want us to talk about that because that's a reality. There are some ships that because of what their ships require, it's just not practical to put them in the universe. I mean, we already complain about ships in the universe now that don't have mechanics, and so you have to say to yourself when you start putting in capital ships. I mean, I know people will say that you could say that about the 890, right? But you don't need 7 or 8 people to run an 890, But I think when you start getting into some of these other ships and when people want to do battles, all you got to do is have 3 or 4 of these ships on, and you've occupied 3/4 of the server space, and then people can't get into servers. And that introduces a whole nother level of stuff. So I know, why? Okay, let's move on here. We're gonna get ready to do our last raffle. But I do want to get into the next ship, which is this one. Long time coming. Does this mean I know I made a prediction several weeks ago? There was a rumor out that the Taurus popped up on the terminals when Eva Cotty was testing, and we were like, yeah, maybe that means it's gonna come out finally. But lo and behold, that's what's in the That is what is in the hologram. I know. Yep. I see the curved windows in the front, Kimmy. That's what's out there for the Taurus. Well, there you go. You got to remember those fronts are modular supposedly, so maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. But here's my question: is this coming around the corner? It has a slight different design, and Kelosal, you just said recently that one of the reasons why we think that the Constellations may get a rework and why the Taurus has been delayed is because they're going to do a rework on them. So is this the first sign that maybe the Connies are getting their rework? And we're seeing it in the Taurus because there are changes in the design of that ship. Let me go to Kelosal since you were the one who tossed that out there the other day to us. What do you think?
I mean, I mean, there are some changes. I mean, I'm looking at the concept now. I mean, the original concept had the bridge not circular, not round,
Mm-hmm.
and we see it round. We do see some similarities of the concept. Look at the engines, for example. Those little, small, little, oval shape looks like sensors or whatever it is on the engines. Those are
Mm-hmm.
still the same from the original concept.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been some additions, but based off of what they put out with the MSR,
Mm-hmm.
and its capability of having cargo that you can hide.
Mm-hmm.
And now you finally have that with the MSR. Them talking about changing. I mean, I haven't heard it. I mean, we've heard things about the developers talking about maybe doing a rework on the Constellation series. So I think that kind of pushed that back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to look at the cargo space that's on the ship as well. So with them sneaking, I think the ships that they snuck out on the floor of the 3D model with it being physically rendered,
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the ships that we can look forward to seeing them a lot sooner than later.
Okay. Shiver, what do you think? That's a different looking Taurus. Think that's anything real?
They do like to tease us, but I mean, one of the things when it comes to anything Constellation Taurus related is there's a lot of bull to deal with.
Okay.
He's not issuing this.
I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Okay. Okay.
But I mean, if they grab it by the horns and go full on with it, they've done 4 or 5 reworks of the Connie so far.
Yeah, I think they're on the 4th one now. Yeah.
By the fourth, yeah.
Mark 4. Yeah, we're on Mark 4.
Certainly
There's a ring of truth there.
It certainly used to be Chris's favored ship, we'll say. I'm with. I can't remember who said it in the chat now. It wasn't even that long ago. But why isn't it in the game yet?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things,
What's the reason for it not being in the game?
With it being supposedly the more bare
That's a good
bone
question.
of the Constellation ships, the only thing that we could think of was possibly whatever the smuggling mechanic is, but that still doesn't seem like that was enough not for it to not be in the game. A lot of people bought this because this was going to be their hauler. This was the ship that they wanted to do hauling and trading with. And a lot of people have melted. A lot of people, when they saw it go off the roadmap earlier this year, they were very discouraged by the fact that it kept getting pushed back. So yeah, Kimmy, I'm gonna hit you real quick, and then we're gonna hit hit the last ship. First thing you noticed was the change, right? The you thought it was an Aquila because it does have that forward front change.
Yes.
Do you think that this modularity idea with the Connies is going to actually happen? Because the Connies are divided into these 4 sections, and they said you'd be able to swap out different things. Do you think that that's going to be something that CIG will hold their promise to, or do you think they'll just do the rework and just leave it like that? Because if you remember, the Avengers originally were supposed to be modular, and instead they just went with the variants and left it there. Do you think that they'll do that with the Connies, that they will stick with that modularity, or do you think they'll just make some really definitive cool ships and say, hey, we're not going to do that whole swapping out thing?
Well, for the fact that Robert Space Industries were one of the very first in the inception of the entire gaming verse when everything started, and the fact that the rumor or buzz kind of went out there about, well, RSI needs some love, and then the thing about the struts, and I don't think it set well with them. But then you have the Connies were kind of pushed out there, and they were kind of, it was like not a lot of distinctions, but it was kind of muddy or gray between them. And so with that said, I think this is an attempt by RSI to establish very hardline distinctions between those variants of that Andromeda series, to say, I want this particular ship, I want that particular ship, and it stands out amongst each other as a variant. But also, I think when we're talking about, you guys brought up the fact about hauling cargo and dedicated to hauling cargo, and this is the main purpose of that ship. There could be some things holding it back in regards to carrying cargo units as a whole across the whole structure of Star Citizen. And maybe this is their opportunity to say that if you're about to, or you're thinking about, or have the Taurus because you waited so long, we're going to damn well make it worth your weight, because now we're going to do some special things with these cargo units, especially with the way that these the metrics of them are ramping up now, where we'll see just maybe 4 big cargo units inside of it, but yet it's holding maybe 5 to 10,000 individual units, right? And so then it really lends to the fact that now it's a dedicated cargo hauler that can move this cargo around, but also protect itself, because it's not swimming with the pool of fish like the whole Mist series. So it's gonna be interesting.
Right. Good point. Good point. All right, the last thing that everybody was pretty excited about yeah, sure.
I've got one more.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you think the side of the door of the Connie will be a metal door?
Only if they make it red.
Nice.
Keep up with this guy. He pushes you, man.
Nice.
Yeah, he's pushing me all right. He's pushing me all right.
His Star Trek game. Apologies to you, brother. It was a lot of stuff that was going on with me. Love you, man.
Okay, here we go. All right, let's go to our final ship.
Love it.
And this is one that was very much anticipated. We had rumors about. We saw various images before it came out, and they were pretty close. And that's the RSI Perseus. This ship that came out became as a, I guess it is considered more of a gunboat. Size 7 weapons on it. 4 sets of size weapon turrets, in fact. And also some additional turrets. It also has torpedoes. If I'm not mistaken, 20 or 10? I can't remember. Is it 10 or 20? 10 on each side. I think it's 20. I think it's 20. It's 10 on each side.
20.
Yeah, complement. This ship was 100 meters, just about 100 meters in length. It actually ended up being a little bit smaller than many people thought. It is kind of comparable to, well, if you want to know 100 meters, we're talking about the length of a Starfarer. Is that correct? I think, if I'm mistaken, roughly. So it's considered a gunboat, even though it does have torpedoes in it. And I think the cost on this was $600 US. And it is in concept. And a lot of people bought it. And there are some people who feel it was slightly overpriced, mostly because somewhat because of the size, but also they felt that there should have been maybe a few more amenities to the ship. I heard people mention everything from kitchen areas to med bays. I don't know if anybody on our panel today purchased one. Shiver, I'll start with you. Did you buy one? If you didn't buy one, were you interested in one? And if you weren't interested, why not? And Cool Turtle.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested.
Thank you.
I really want one. And the more I see it, the more I think I really want that. And I've got this caterpillar that's just screaming at me, upgrade me to a Perseus. And those screams are getting louder and louder and harder to ignore. And I like it. It's got a massive gun on it. I want it. It's as simple as that. And I think I might have to now buy one after the show.
Okay. I was going to ask you, were you going to work for it or buy it? So thank you. Okay. Thank you, Nubifier 650. Thank you, Nubifier. Kimmy, did you purchase one? Didn't purchase one?
Did not, Griff.
Did not. Okay.
Yes, but this is going to punch big holes in big sides of ships, and it's going to bear on you, and it's going to bear on you hard. It's basically they literally took the canopy and slapped it on a naval frigate ship. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, but literally it's a frigate. They don't name it, but it's a frigate. But it has the armament to really pack a punch to something. Okay. It's a big gun.
Okay, good
it's
point.
A big gun.
Good point. Kelosal, interesting design on that ship, and a lot of us have been wondering, even people in the community have been talking about that nose on that ship. Is that probably because of the image that we saw in the concept drawing, bursting through, splitting in half a hammerhead? Do you think that that's an actual armored front, and that ship could literally do that if it gets close enough? Or is that it just looks good because it's pointy?
I mean, she probably could, but at the same time, if you look at the weak points of a hammerhead, that is it. Those sides where you got those two corridors and you got a split in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would be a weak point of a hammerhead if you wanted to go ahead and split that ship. Plus, she probably already tore through it anyways before she went ahead and completed the chaos, the carnage. But I mean, that's just assuming. But yeah, I mean, this ship is well designed. I do got to note that I don't think she's as fast as everybody thinks she is.
No, she's 96 meters a second. She is slower. She's slower than a Polaris.
Yeah, Polaris has. Yep, Polaris has her. She's about the size, if not around the size of a hammerhead.
Slower than a hammerhead.
Okay.
Too. Yep.
So take that into consideration. But she's a powwow of a ship.
She hits you. Oh my God.
She hits you, and she hits you hard. She hits you with the intent to kill, not with the intent to knock you out. Okay.
Yes.
But so it's going to be interesting to see how people come across this ship. But I love the fact that she has docking collars that are hidden. Instead of being opened, you can see the nice little doors that open and close over the docking collars. And this one, unlike Gray ships, does have several escape pods that you can go ahead and jump out of, just in case if you need to make that trip out in deep space because you may have a critical area in your ship. So great ship. Capacity wise, you're not looking at cargo with this ship. She only has 50. Kind of shocked me a little bit because if she's got 50 and the Corsair has 72, how can the Corsair hold a rover and this ship hold a rover too? Kind of shocked me a little bit on that one. But the guns on this ship, and you got to have a minimum of 6 and 6. So 6 minimum, 6 max to go ahead and operate this ship. So you can take some of your best friends and just cause some chaos around the galaxy. Great ship. Love the idea. Good concept. I would like to see what other companies can be able to throw out an equivalent to this.
Nubifire, thank
Maybe
you. He
Consolidated Outlands would like to do something.
Nubifire throws out 2 points. He says the design docs don't mention anything about ramming. Absolutely correct. Again, I was just basing it on the concept drawing of them showing it bursting through a hammerhead. And I think, Kelosal, you're right. Even if that were to happen, I think it would be the ship is damaged and it might possibly do it. I was just looking at that design. It looks like the fact that it's by itself out there and it looks like it's hardened. I said, boy, wouldn't it be cool if this ship actually, you don't want it to get close to you because it literally could do something like that and not take much damage. Let's see. The other thing I was going to say about this ship. You guys know this. Every ship that CIG makes, there's no Frankenstein ship that does everything well. The fact that this ship, I was watching STL Youngblood's ship video on this today. He calculated roughly that this thing does over 10,000 DPS. This ship does with all the weapons and guns on it. That's pretty serious when ships like the Hammerhead and other ones do about 6,000, 7,000, even the Polaris. So, think about that. We want to slow this sucker down some because we don't want this thing to be not only 10,000 DPS, but also very, very fast as well. So that becomes the trade-off maybe to have that level of DPS, but at the same time, realize that we're going to give it some type of Achilles heel, for lack of a better term. Any closing thoughts on the Perseus? I know everybody says they purchased one. What I do want to do is hit a question that Admiral Kusanagi threw into, and then we're going to do our raffle. In fact, if you guys, give me 1 second here. I want to get the raffle going for this last Nomad that we do want to show you guys. But Admiral Kusanagi asked a question. He said, what is Star Citizen missing? If you're including the Idris, which is the frigate, and the Javelin, which is the destroyer, of course, different manufacturers can create similar ships and roles. Darkness Muta, thank you for the follow. Out of all these ships we saw this week, guys, and Shiver, I'll start with you, give you a couple seconds to think. Of all the ships we saw, the manufacturers, is there any type of ship or career that you think could be added now with CIG so that, we see something new? Forget stuff that we didn't see like the BMM and stuff. I'm talking about literally something new that hasn't been mentioned or thought of by CIG.
Cruisers, heavy cruisers.
And what would that fall between? Between like a what and a what? If you had to name off ships, between which ships would that fall into?
I mean, size-wise, they're going to be bigger than the destroyer, but smaller than the Retribution, almost certainly.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to be. The Retribution is a one-trick pony. It is a massive gun. In that sort of size range, all you've got at the moment are carriers. I want a big ship that's got a lot of big guns.
Kimmy, any ship or career that you think is missing or should be coming with CIG with the game?
Oh gosh. You want to hit Kelosal? I'm kind of still thinking it up.
Sure, no problem. Kelosal.
I mean, what's an equivalent to a dreadnought? I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I would love to see those types of ships in game. I mean, I would think you would have to do a little bit more with the industrial side, other than the haulers, mining aspects, you know, and things like that. Maybe some stations that they could own out in space, or things like that. I mean, other than the ships, and we haven't heard about the Endeavor yet. And I think you said, you know, throw away those ships. What other facets of the games that are out there that could be out there?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we could talk about a little bit more dealing with the scale of entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got phase 1 of the Reputation coming in 3.12, so that's going to be interesting to see how that works in terms of transport, dealing with people as commodities. So we'll see how that works out.
Okay. All right, Kimmy, any thoughts, any particular career or ship that you would like to see?
Maybe a ship that can come in and help out with maybe. Oh gosh, this is a tough one.
It's tough.
I would say a ship would kind of like a more of a defender type ship. Maybe there's a distress by maybe a ship or a capital ship. It's in distress.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's a ship that can kind of hold the line until that ship is kind of repaired or can escape.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, that this ship emits some sort of dampening of energy weapons, or the shields can actually become a barrier or a battering ram for an extended time to allow the ships to get in and get out. But yeah, with that, it's a time limit on that type of ship where that shield emission tech can create a barrier. And so you have to keep pounding the ship, but it doesn't have a lot of weaponry to fight, but it's more of the defensive where it can get in and say, okay, I'm holding the line. Get the hell out of here. Now you got to go. And you have a time frame of how much you can get bombarded with. And then by that time you can get that Idris out of there, and then you get out as well.
Okay, cool. I can't wait to see. I know y'all gonna laugh when I say this. I can't wait to see something that's set up for agriculture, but that's me personally. Gaming Nightlife, thank you for the follow. Unimatrix 8, thank you for the follow. All right, guys, awesome. !Nomad, !Nomad for our final giveaway for the night. And we are going to watch a video. Please forgive me because I thought I had this queued up. Usually I have this stuff together, but today was crazy day for me. So we are going to watch a video, and we'll get some comments from everybody when this is all done. But this was a video that came out this week. It was some of you guys saw it, and so we want to really show this video off because we thought it was done very, very well. It was done by, well, I'll put the credits in and everything in a second here, but it was for Drake Interplanetary. But the thing that was it was for Drake Interplanetary, but the thing that was really cool about this video is that they showed almost every ship that Star Citizen has, which was really awesome. So we're going to show this video to you guys right now by StarJump, and hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk about it when the video is done. So here we go.
StarJump.
Okay. Well, yeah. Those of you who don't know, this was done by StarJump, and it was a fan-made film. First time when I saw this, I said, "Hey, CIG better grab this guy," because I think he did it great. The work that he did, and the fact that he incorporated so many ships, particularly those ships that we have not seen any animations for, any commercials for, which I thought was pretty cool. So, Shiver, what's your thoughts when you saw this commercial? What did you think?
I loved the music first and foremost. I really loved the music.
Yeah.
But it's great, isn't it? What people can do with what we have right now. I mean, technically, even with the Vulture in there, what we don't have right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was wonderful, wasn't it? It showed off what could potentially happen in the right hands with the wrong ships.
Fair enough. Kimmy, how about you? What did you think when you first saw this commercial?
It just blurred the line of what this community, again, I can't say enough about this community. You guys are incredible. With that said, it blurs the line between SIG and the community itself. It's a melting pot of talent, love, passion. And when I saw this, I had to look at it twice and to say, oh, SIG did something. Wait, oh no, this isn't SIG. This isn't the developers doing this. But it also it hails to what SIG is doing as far as sound tech. Yeah, it's challenging, and we misunderstand some things where it's so complex with getting this stuff done, and we don't see the complexity of it. And they at times don't want to share all that complexity because of the negativity behind it. But it lets you know that SIG. They're doing sound things with the development and the concept of these things when you can actually take these 3D models and animate them in this such way. It speaks volumes as to what path that SIG is taking and getting this stuff out and getting it done right and giving us great potential gameplay that we're seeing here. This is why we back. This is the realized potential of what they're bringing to the forefront. And with this incredible and talented and passionate community, man, I'm so proud to be a part of this. When I see this like this, when I see things of this nature.
Awesome. Kelosal, this is the second video that got to shake your head this week. First it was the C2, then this one. What did you think about this fan-made video?
I mean, it was arguably one of the, if not the best fan-made video I've seen in a long time. And I mean, it rivals to me one of CIG's best passionate videos, which is the one on the Pioneer. I thought the music with the Pioneer coming out, I thought that was just amazing. It almost brought me to tears. And this we're here, especially tight when, of course, the carrot comes in and the carrot is turning, and you see the lightning in the background, and you see all these other ships on the top of it. You see the Corsair coming in. I mean, just well done. I'm going to argue on the flip side, Griff. I hope CIG doesn't pick this guy up, because at least he's given us imaginations that we're able to see that CIG will not show us could be a game.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody else has him. Maybe he's getting paid six figures. He does. He's getting paid that.
Yeah, that's a
good
point.
But no, CIG, you don't need to pick this guy up, because I hope he keep on giving us content and keep us making us imagine what could be in game that gives you the idea maybe you should implement this. I mean, it was phenomenal. So great job by him.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I agree. And I think that is what got me excited when I watched this, was just the fact that, first of all, he took the initiative to do it. I think I heard that he started working on this like 3 months. It took him 3 months to do this video, supposedly, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a lot of dedication to do this, just taking the information from the website and being able to implement it into animation. Yeah, sure, there were some liberties taken, but I think that a lot of what was done here was in line with what we've seen. It got me pumped up again about the Nautilus. When I saw those 2 or 3 Nautiluses out there dropping mines, I was like, oh man, that is cold, So yeah, his docking aspects about docking were interesting that he showed. There was just a lot of good stuff in here that inspired people. Did you guys see the Banu Merchantman was in there flying in the background as well? The Banu was in there. There were several ships that we don't even have in game that popped up in here, which was great. So I was really excited about this as well. So yeah, that's it. All right, let's go ahead and get on this, folks, so we can wrap up our night. We're going to wrap up this very last giveaway for a Nomad. Those of you who want to do exclamation Nomad, we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel and let you guys and gals who are out there, we're going to let you all see who the winner is. So we're going to do a countdown on this one. 3, 2, and 1. Boom. BK Latino, you are
congrats.
the winner. BK,
Nice.
are
Congrats.
you there? If you are there, give us a shout and let us know that you're there. There, look at that face. BK.
Oh, it's you.
It is you. It is you. So, BK Latino, congratulations. Send us a message in Twitch chat with your RSI handle and email, or you can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com. And we will get that out to you ASAP. Okay, it has been a long night. We are hitting on we're almost on the 3-hour mark, but we got a lot of information. We had a week's worth of stuff. Don't forget, IAE 2950 is still going on to December 2nd. So for those of you who are still contemplating whether to spend, whether to melt, whether to buy back, you have 48 hours, a little over 48 hours to get it together and decide what you want to do. If you want to just kind of, if you want to chill, if you want to chill and just say, hey, it was a good time, walk around the expo center, feel free to do that as well. We didn't talk about Best in Show. You guys know that we had Best in Show ships. That was the Cutlass. Actually, I have them right here. If I can show them very quickly. The Cutlass, the Carrack, the Eclipse, and the Eclipse and the Valkyrie.
Oh,
yep. So Yep, no, that was last year.
Nope.
This year it was those. They had a different paint scheme. It was like a white and gold, which was kind of nice. I wish they had put them up as skins, but for those of you people who are interested in it, you like the white color, hey, there's something different for you to check out. But those were our Best in Show ships, and those are on sale today. So let me wrap it up. Shiver, our special guest who is with us today. Shiver, tell people where they can find you.
Over on twitch.tv/Table of Horrors, all one word. This week we've got potentially, hopefully, a playthrough of Bloodlines when we talk about last episode of Vampire Masquerade. This week we've got an episode of Vampire Masquerade with a special guest. If you want to watch VOD, we just did Star Trek Adventures and Vampire Masquerade. We have fun.
Awesome. Kimmy, where can people find you?
You're gonna find me on Twitch, Kimmy65. I'm gonna gameplay. I'm gonna talk about dual sticks, if it's a thing or not for you. I'll help you troubleshoot through it. But mainly Star Citizen and gameplay conversation, definitely. You'll find me there.
Hey y'all, Kimmy didn't buy that Perseus because Kimmy bought that 3090 card. Let me tell you, the brother's cooking. That brother's cooking with gas over there, y'all. He said, listen, I need the speed. I got a need for speed. That's what he went for. He instead of a need for a JPEG, he went for a need for speed.
4K,
so congratulations.
4K gaming realized, y'all. Yeah. I gotta admit, this card, all the settings at the max for a Star Citizen, and I was able to sustain high frame rates at 4K full on. It's beautiful. So this is a great time to be a gamer. This is new technologies out there on the cusp of it being a reality. AMD, Intel, all the players are in the mix now. They're competitive. Yep. So again, great time to be a gamer. SIG is working on foundational tech. So yeah, it's great. It's fun, man.
The prices are right. The problem is getting your hands on one because stuff is flying off the shelves, which is really crazy. Really crazy.
EVGA or Founders Edition if you're gonna go NVIDIA.
Everything's
those
crazy.
Two.
All right, Kim. In Kelosal, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me here at Soul Citizens. I'm a busy man, so I'm in the field of education, so you know what my role is with the kids. So, but other than that, you can just find me here pretty much on Friday nights at FNL, or you can go ahead and find me here on Sundays at times with Soul Citizens. It's always a pleasure being a part of this. And Shiver, thanks for being here. It's great seeing you today. Kimmy, excellent as always. Griffin, of course, kudos. Can't say much, if not anything, about this young man. He does a lot for Soul Citizens and the Star Citizen community.
Yes.
So
Proud
Love
of you
you, Griff.
guys.
All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate all of
Proud
you
of you
guys.
guys.
And Shiver, once again, thank you for making the time. Shiver's on Asian time, y'all. So when he gets up and gets on this show, it is dark outside. And he but he hangs with us, and especially today, this is the longest we've kept him. So we're going to let him go have his late breakfast, which I'm sure is about what he's about to have.
12 hours ahead of us.
Yeah, so we really appreciate you being here. You guys,
thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you
Always a
so
pleasure.
much. Thank you. Listen, guys, we're going to do a quick raid on Jack Banana. I don't know who Jack Banana is. I've never talked to Jack Banana, but I'll tell you why I'm raiding him. In his description for his show, he says this is his last show that he's going to be streaming until Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. So
That's nuts.
you all send him some love. Say, hey, where are you going? Give him a hard time, you know, and follow him and can encourage him to hang in here with Star Citizen until Cyberpunk, if it comes out. So if Cyberpunk comes out. So listen, thanks again for you guys for hanging with us tonight. For those of you who won tonight, congratulations. We got your information. And as always, we want to tell you guys peace, love, and soul. We're out of here.
Love you guys.